There we go. Okay, there we go. Cheesy Pete's. I linked it to my voice mod and it just... That's gonna be cuter? Nah. We don't need more series around here. What was I saying? My goodness. Mini Siri lives in the hat. My goodness. Oh, but I was saying before I realized my mic wasn't even working, the Jackson Sparks Foundation was a foundation made by his family, to give kids in need or kids with disabilities or illnesses the chance to play baseball. It's pretty nice. I believe there's some other things correlating with it, but that's pretty much what I've gotten the idea of. I can actually look at it again. Yeah, it says their mission, the Jack Sparks Foundation was founded in Jackson's memory to perpetuate the kindness and love that was shown to the Sparks family during their darkest moments. We want to continue the mission of love, kindness, and faith by granting baseball dreams to children in need when they need it the most. I believe this was probably started up because their son Jackson used to love to play baseball. Which is really nice. It's really sweet. So I linked it just in case anyone wanted to look into it or maybe help donate in any kind of way. I was going to try and link another... Siri, give me a hug. I don't know if I like the smiley face that comes with it, but okay. Ooh, virtual hug. A virtual hug for you. I don't know how to hug from here. I'm gonna start it. But anyways, let's see. And of course, as soon as I start talking, the cat comes around. The cat. The one and only, the Binks. Oh, stretch. She gives a big old stretch for y'all. Let's see here. Anyways. We gotta get into this. I knew it. There was a catch. But haha! Joke's on you! That wallet has nothing in it. I'm broke. Oh man. Loving it. Let me see if I can get some... See, I was gonna play some kind of dark music, but that's probably not gonna happen. Maybe I can do... Let me try this. Oh, perfect. Let's try this one. Cool. I feel like this would be a good one. Does this mean I go to jail? Yep, that means you go to jail. You stole a cop's wallet. Jail. But anyways, let's get serious, y'all. Get serious. Serious faces. My goodness. We got two cases that we're going to be talking about. The first case is the Darrel Brooks case. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while now, since the big trial, the big court case, because that whole court case was wild. And then the other one that I want to talk about is Casey Anthony, because she just came out with a documentary series. Yay! I was gonna show the trailer for that, but one, I don't know if that's gonna give me a copyright strike or not, and two, I don't want to. I'd rather not give her any type of promotion or advertisement. So yeah, we're not gonna do that. But I will show a clip that's from Inside Edition, pretty much showing someone who actually I believe reported, like was doing like the reporting on the whole case at the time, and now, you know, I guess they were going to try and have her interview, and she said no, outright said no. It's a lot going on there, but you'll understand when we get to it. But first, we're going to talk about the one and only Darrel Brooks. This man, I'm going to warn y'all, this man is very, very angry. He's a very angry man. Very angry man. He did something that was so horrid. This music is not really fitting, but so you may have heard of it, you may have not. It was it happened in Milwaukee, which is really wild. Pretty much this man had killed, oh gosh, I have to look it up. Hold on one sec. I bet it's in here. They didn't really give much info here. See the, okay. So he has killed 6 people and injured 60 people in the process of doing this. So what had happened was, after like a big argument, I guess he had a big argument with his ex-girlfriend, which turned into this big like angry flipping, get in the car, just speeding down the street, going so fast that he's running through a Christmas parade and just starts plowing through people, killing 6, oldest being 81 to the youngest being 8 years old. It's gruesome, it's graphic, and it's really sad. Which is really interesting to say considering the videos that I'm going to be showing y'all. I did find some short little clips because unfortunately there are no like documentary videos of any sort like on JCS out for right now. This case just got closed, like, or the court, what is it called? The trial ended in like November, just last year, so it's not very old. So obviously we do not have like a documentary video of any kind to go off of. There is an interrogation video, but I decided not to show that this time around, just because I just don't know how I would comment on it. It's out there. It's not hard to find. But welcome in, John. Welcome in. But yeah, he's an interesting dude, for sure. This guy had me just in a head spin, pretty much, just watching the case go. It was like this poor judge was pretty much running a clown court, and he was the clown, right? But yeah, he's done some stuff. I can probably read off some of this. What's up? Welcome in, John. Welcome in. I'll read off some of these little bits that I pulled from the from these articles here. Which, by the way, I have the NBC News article, the CNN, and an article from WISN. I think that's from Wisconsin. Yeah, this is from Wisconsin News. Yeah, the absolute clownery. This man is an absolute clown. But, jeez, I can't talk when I'm looking at that picture. He's got like a mugshot that looks like he's staring into your soul or something. But I'll read these little snippets that I grabbed from the, from these articles. Let's see. A jury convicted Brooks, 40 years old, in October on all 76 counts after the deadly incident in Waukesha, west of Milwaukee, on November 21st, 2021. So this happened like 2 years ago. Um, well, no, 1 year ago. Technically, it was 1 year ago. Um, 6 of the counts were first-degree intentional homicide. Uh, Following the 2 days of statements from victims and family members, Judge Jennifer Darrow imposed the mandated sentence, ordering Brooks to serve a life sentence, without the possibility of extended supervision for each of the first-degree homicide counts. The sentences will run consecutively, she said. So Judge Darrow is a flipping legend in this whole thing. She handled it so well. She was literally like a queen. She was just handling it so great. Like, literally did not... I think she may have, like, got a little frustrated a few times, but she never, like, she never snapped at him. She never, like, you know, got irate or anything by any means. She was, you know, very, direct, polite, you know, just really, you know, doing well as a judge. And I think she did well there. Welcome in, Incognito. Welcome in. But anyways, yeah, we'll talk about her. She is wonderful. She's a lovely judge, and that's not sarcastic either. That's honest. That's an honest truth. Let's see. So I did mention that the victims that were killed in the oh my god, what am I saying? The victims that were killed in the homicide were from the ages 8 to 81 years old. The youngest one is named Jackson Sparks. I've already talked about him earlier. Legends. Not here. Welcome in, random. Let's see. We're talking about true crime. I was just saying something. Yes, the youngest one's name is Jackson Sparks. I've already talked about that a little bit. He was in the parade with his brother, who's 12. Thankfully, one of them did survive. One of them did make it. Unfortunately, as you know, the other one did not. But Jackson was just 8 years old when he was killed. He was a part of a baseball team with his brother, and they were in the parade with the baseball team, which is very sad. I'll be in and out of the stream. That's okay, John. Don't worry about it. Let's see. Another interesting tidbit. You'll see this pretty frequently in the videos. But Brooks represented himself at trial. The trial was marked by disruptions, including on Wednesday, after Brooks began arguing with the judge and was removed from the courtroom. This happened more than once. Waukesha County jury on October 26th convicted Brooks of 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide and 61 counts of reckless endangerment, 6 counts of hit and run causing death, 2 counts of bail jumping, and 1 count of misdemeanor battery. So I did find out that these 61 counts of reckless endangerment, the judge actually sentenced him to 17 years, like 17 and like a half years, for each count. So just take that in, if you will. You're getting 17 years for each count of reckless endangerment, and he's got 61 of them. On top of that, he's got like 6 life sentences. Like, that man ain't going nowhere. Man can't even get a lawyer. No, he didn't want a lawyer. He flipping represented himself. He wanted to do his own thing, I guess. He thought he was gonna get out of it scot-free. And you'll see it too. He thinks that his anger problems and manipulation tactics are gonna work, but they don't. Let's see. And then this is I think partially Darrel's, sorry, I keep saying his name wrong. You know what? I don't care at this point. Darrel, this is Darrel's closing argument. I decided to just take um, the quote that one of these news articles had left, just because the video itself was like almost an hour long, and I was like, I don't think any of us want to sit through crocodile tears and it's all about me type of situation, so we'll just read the snippet. But he says, I want each and every victim in this incident, family members, those who have lost loved ones, those who are still healing, I want everyone to know that not only am I sorry for what happened, I'm sorry that you could not see what's truly in my heart. Okay. That you could not see the remorse that I have, he told the court. That you could not hear all the prayers I've said in my cell. That you could not see all the tears that I have dropped. For myself. No, I added the for myself bit, but that's pretty much all it sounds like is, but what about me? Like, yeah, sure, some people got hurt, but what about me? It's like, sorry, what? Buddy, you killed 6 people, injured several more. What? But yeah, he is an absolute clown. He's an absolute clown. There's like a point, I won't be able to show like the whole trial because the whole trial would take hours and we're not here for that. So I found some clips that were pretty, just shows some of the crazy that was going on in this case. But Darrel, would have temper tantrums, outbursts. He would constantly say objection. He would always say that his name, that, you know, when they would call him Mr. Brooks or Darrel, that he would say that that's not his name and he doesn't go by that name. So pretty much trying to distance himself from the crime. He would get constantly pulled out of the main courtroom and put into another room. He even made a box tower. I think I've got that video. Yeah, I do. I have that video. We're gonna watch that. That's gonna be hilarious. But he's just all about himself. He's such a child in some cases. It's almost just frustrating to watch. But in the end, he did get his due diligence. He made his cake and ate it too. Bro thinks he's an ace attorney. Yeah, I think he wishes he was an ace attorney, just so somebody could pull out some evidence out of their sleeve or something. You know what I mean? Like, this guy was a hot mess. He was definitely a hot mess. And with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and set up our video here. A little video, if you will. Also, just a note, I do have these videos linked in the description if you want to watch them in your own time. You can also look this stuff up. There is recordings of the whole court case for Darrel, and I believe Casey Anthony's stuff is pretty. You can find anything on Casey. She can't hide forever, okay? But anyways, I gotta get set up first because I totally forgot to set up. Don't worry, we'll get this situated. We'll do display. It'll be fine. Haha, perfect. Okay. Then don't worry, y'all. We'll get this situated. I don't think this is gonna fit. Oh no, it's not gonna fit. Oh. Really? Frustrating. Very frustrating. Dagnibbit. Dagnibbit. Hold on, we'll do it like display capture. Dagnibbit. We need browser source. I should have set this up beforehand. I do apologize. I thought, you know, it'll be fine. Apparently not. Whoops, not that. That's not what I need. Uno momento. I might as well just... I think I'm just gonna have to set up the display. Wait, website. Window capture. Okay. Ah. Well, this is pretty much the same thing. Okay, it's gonna be a bit funky. It's because I'm using my main screen to show this video, so I think that's why it's a little funky. So I apologize. But we'll go ahead, get this all the way back here. 1 second. There we go. Perfect. Can't really see the... There we go. God, this looks awful. I apologize, y'all. Dadgummit. Come on. Ow. Don't fight me on this. Ow, ow. My Jiminy Christmas. Where is it? Chat, chat, chat. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna... Can't really see it that well, but... This is the most funkiest setup I've ever done. I really need to do a better setup than this. There we go. Okay. Stitch back out. I don't want to know what's going on in the Discord. I'm just gonna pretend like I don't see that. Anywho. Oh yeah, that's right. The music. Gosh darn it. Music, shush. We're in the middle of a court case. Alright. Here you go, y'all.
Your Honor, with all due respect, did the state have to put their witnesses in order and tell me?
It's irrelevant what the state did.
Did they have to do that?
They didn't need your assistance to do that.
Did they have to do it?
No, they did not.
I didn't have to be provided with. We're going to call this witness at this time,
but they're
and this witness at this time. They didn't have to do that, so why should I have to do that?
And accommodate their schedules. This is not about you. It's not about the state. It's about the witnesses.
It's about what's fair. It's about what's fair.
Well, frankly, sir, it's about you trying to control what's happening in this court.
How am I controlling this? I'm the one shackled to the table with
with
a shock device on my ankles. So how's I'm trying to control anything? I just want this to be fair, and it hasn't been fair.
Mr. Brooks, it's fair.
No, it's not. If I have to do something that they don't have to do, how's that fair?
It's fair.
Explain to me how that's fair.
The process that has been set up to frankly help you.
No, it's not helping me it's helping the state by being able to say, if we know the time and we know the person and we know this, then we can be prepared. So we'll already be ready.
Mr. Brooks,
that was the whole aim of that.
And I would have had her come in later. You didn't want to answer that question.
There was no question. There was no question to answer. I did what you asked me to do, Your Honor. You said,
you didn't.
yes, you did. You did. You asked me to give them my witness
Mr.
list.
Brooks,
I gave them my witness list. It's not my fault. It's not my fault they weren't going to be prepared to
Mr.
do
Brooks,
their
here's the deal.
to do
the
their
jury's
cross.
coming out, and I'm going to stand my ground on this.
I'm going to stand my ground too, but I'm not going to be disrespectful or disruptive. I'm just stating I want it to be fair.
When the jury comes,
This man literally says, I'm not going to be disrespectful and disruptive. And then does it throughout the whole thing. Literally does it throughout the whole thing. Just I'm not trying to be disrespectful and disruptive, but I'm going to do it anyways because whatever. I don't care. Gosh darn this dude.
releasing her from the subpoena.
You can't do that.
For your
Where's
lack
the
of
lawful law?
cooperation.
Where's the lawful law? I have the right to
You
witnesses.
have to cooperate with this process,
But I
sir.
also have the Sixth Amendment right.
We have a witness available for you to call. I can require
It's
you
not
to
the witness
call her
that should have
right
been
now.
called at this time, Your Honor.
It is based on the list that you provided and
That didn't
in
have
the
a time. That didn't have a time or of.
I'm not
Oh,
going to
Lord.
play this game with you, sir.
It's not no game. That's what
It
you don't
is
seem
a
to
game
understand.
you. I believe that fully.
I don't care what you believe fully.
All right.
It's not a game.
We.
I don't take
I
this
asked
as a game. That's what
explain
nobody.
this to
Oh
you.
that's
my
what
God.
Nobody, you don't gotta explain nothing to me.
Do you want?
That's what you don't understand. You think
you
that
want
this
the
is a whole
opportunity
game
to
to me.
question?
This is not a game to me, Your Honor. Nothing about this is a joke.
I never
That's
said
what
it
y'all
was a
don't
joke.
understand.
But there's
And
some
it's
things in
unfair.
this ship
It's
that's going
unfair
on.
and it's disrespectful to me that you think I would come in here purposely and treat this like a joke or a game.
I never said it
Oh
was
my
a joke.
God.
What type of statement is that?
Mr.
Your life is not on the line. Mine is. And you think that I think this is funny?
I don't think it's funny whatsoever.
So
And
I think, Your Honor, with all due respect, I think you should show some
we're going to take
respect.
a 5-minute break, and when we come back, the jury's coming out, and you need to call your next witness. Thank you. We are in recess.
No, you're not rushing me to judgment. I don't care which.
Oh my Lord. This guy. Is he for real? Is he for real? Your life's not on the line. Mine is. What?
No, it's
No,
not
no, I'm talking. Shh, shh. I'm sorry, Judge, but excuse me. What? I'm at a loss for words here. I don't even know what to say to that. Hi, random. Welcome me in. Yeah, that's absolute bonkers. That is absolute bonkers. I can't believe he said my life's on the line, not yours. And it's like, okay, well, at least you get to live. And, meanwhile, there's several people that are in the hospital because of you and your actions. Not to mention the deaths. Oh, we've already talked about the deaths, but we can talk about them again. It's like, God, Darrel. Come on, man. Come on. The next one I'm gonna show is, I don't know if I'll show this one or not, but, you know what? Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's 10 minutes. It should be okay. It just says Darrel. No, I said it right. Darrel Brooks throws fit over removal to other courtroom. It's just a video of, you know, him getting moved over to the other area because he was being a big baby and threw a fit, and now he got put in timeout. So that's fun.
I will advise you that if you are in that courtroom, because I have put you there and you have not reclaimed the right to be present,
Being a
by
bad
number
boy.
one, asking and then expressing a willingness to conduct yourself consistently with decorum and respect inherent in the concepts of courts and judicial proceedings, you will remain over there. And it looks like he took his headphones off, so I will.
This man's like a full-grown child.
Mr. Brooks, I'm advising you that if you fail to call a witness, you will forfeit your right to present any additional witnesses. And I'm doing this outside the presence of the jury right now for a reason. I need to know from you right now, you are unmuted, who is your next witness?
Oh, Lord.
What you trying to say?
That was very disrespectful, sir. You chose to take off your headphones?
Yeah,
choose
because
to
I'm
read?
muted. I'm muted. So why am I gonna have my headphones on and I'm muted?
Well, I would think your headphones help you hear. The
They
muting
do.
is so that I don't have to hear the disruptions.
Okay, well then why should I need to hear what
So
you
let
saying?
me be
So, apologies, I just interrupted the judge there. So, he literally acts like he's in a principal's office about to get, scolded for, I don't know, doing something stupid. And it's an actual, flipping homicide trial with multiple injuries here. This is a big trial, and he's sitting over here acting like he's about to get put in detention for being bad or something, like a little smack on the hand. You know, like, it's so ridiculous it hurts. And it frustrates. Like, what in the world? You know? What in the audacity? What in the yeehaw is this nonsense? Can't even believe this nonsense. Ah. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Can't even believe this. What the yuck? Anyway.
clear, sir, and you
gotta
not.
be clear or nothing. I don't gotta listen to you.
I will ask you one last time, sir. Who is your next witness?
He took his headphones out again.
Is she talking to me again?
He.
So
This.
we gotta keep doing this little childish stuff, dude.
We gotta keep doing this childish stuff, dude. You're the one being the child. Who's being the child here? Like, is there just a baby in the corner somewhere throwing a fit? That Siri's mind is full of true crime. Lots of true crime. Always true crime. All the time, true crime. Always true crime in 24/7. 365 days a week. Scratch that. 364. Have to take at least one day. Need a vacation, you know, for mental health. But no, yeah, he literally, he says it's childish, but then he's the one acting like a child. I just don't understand him. But I think it's because he's just trying to, he's trying to prolong the trial. You know, the longer it takes, the later and later he'll have to go to jail or prison. You know, so the more he can extend this out, the less he'll have to go to prison, which is really stupid. I think at certain points, I think like there has to come to a point where there should be just sort of a rule where, like, if the defendant is not, you know, mentally or emotionally fit to be their own attorney, they really shouldn't. They really should just be appointed an attorney at that point. But that's just me.
And I'm supposed to abide by every single rule, but don't nobody else got to do that.
The record should
Judicial
reflect
misconduct.
that Mr. Brooks is spouting off, making unsubstantiated allegations against this court, directly attacking the integrity of this court and these proceedings, while yet refusing to answer simple questions. Mr. Brooks,
That's not my name. I told you I don't consent to being called that name.
Sir, you are hereby advised this is the last time I will ask this question,
don't talk
or you
like
will
that.
forfeit your right to present any additional witnesses,
show me where that's law.
because
Show
you
me
are
where
not
that's law.
cooperating with this process.
Show me
Oh
that
my
it's
God.
law. That's all I'm asking. Show me that it's lawful law.
Mr. Brooks,
How can I forfeit not being able to have a defense? Are you kidding me?
all I'm asking is that you conduct yourself
He's like a teenager with a tood.
with decorum and with respect. I will gladly bring you back into this courtroom so you can present your additional witnesses. But you need to ask me to come back into this courtroom.
With all due respect, I'm tired of having this back and forth with you every day.
Oh, what was that? What was that? Did something on my end just go goofy or something? No?
It's not my intention to come in here and have these interactions with you every day. It's not. Regardless to which
Okay, it's definitely video. I'm sorry. I apologize.
regardless to how you may feel, that is not
Got a
my
little
intention.
childish stuff, dude. You're the childish stuff.
I simply do what I
When
do
you're the
because
childish
I do
one.
not have the understanding. So if I don't understand
I don't know why
I'm
it's...
going to ask a question. I apologize if it makes you feel that I'm intentionally trying to delay the proceedings. If I'm intentionally trying to be disruptive. Because that's not the case. And I feel very, 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 very disrespected every time the record is made.
I apologize for the double audio. I don't know why it's doing that.
I'm attempting to do. So of course it's gonna frustrate. Of course it's gonna make me a little bit upset. And I just want you to understand that. It seems to me the way I'm interpreting what you're doing, which is it is your courtroom.
Piracy is a crime.
That's not in dispute. That's not up for debate.
This is a crime.
You control
I'm
what's
committing
going
a
on in
crime.
here. It's not a dispute.
I'm always committing crimes. That's the problem.
The
Crimes.
way I'm interpreting what you're doing is that I'm being held in contempt. That's how I'm interpreting. Because one of the three things that's cited in the Illinois versus Allen, one of them is being gagged. I haven't been gagged. One of them is held in contempt.
So he was never held in contempt. Pretty much, he was put in another room because he would do outbursts. He would throw fits. He would absolutely just have a fit. Like, I'm not even kidding you. There was a point where I think all it was the one of the prosecutors for the state pretty much said like defendant weird. They were just passing out papers and they just said like the defendant and was handing out papers. Really, it was very weird. I don't know whether I'd side with him or not. I have no idea. But it was just kind of, she said it weird and he took it the wrong way and had a big old baby fit, and like it literally was a big old baby fit. He got all angry and up in arms, and then all you sudden you just hear like just a much harder than that. I'm too soft for that. But just a big slam, like he slammed his fist on the table and then stared the judge down, like absolutely just full on toddler tantrum. And then they had to move him to the other room because he was being absolutely irate for no reason. He was literally throwing a fit for no reason. I'm not even kidding you. So he's not being held in contempt. If you really think about it, it's more like timeout. He's being put in timeout because he can't behave himself in the court. And I feel like at some point he probably regrets not hiring a defense team to help him. But I mean, it's Darrell Brooks. He'll do what he wants.
What's the third, Mr. Brooks? What's the third?
The third is removed from the courtroom while the trial continues, right? That's the third, right?
And that's what's been done.
Okay. So now, where does it say after that having me on a headset or being able to see and hear and all this and this, how is that not prejudicing my defense?
Sir, you can raise that issue on appeal. You can raise that issue on appeal if you are convicted.
This is why I say that though, because I can't even see. The only thing I can see right now when I'm looking at the TV is you and the prosecution table. I can't see anything else.
I understand.
That's probably a good thing.
I'm fully aware of that.
So I'm not fully aware of what's going on in the courtroom.
What else do you need to see, man? So another thing was that people have theorized that he just, I guess like people are saying that he's like has narcissistic tendencies. He's also been known to be manipulative, which I can probably agree with on the manipulative bit, just because he wants to have control over the situation, and in this case, he has no control, so he's going to throw a fit. That's pretty much how it goes. This is why he, I believe, this is why we see him have outbursts, is because he has no control in this situation. Normally he would get his way if he's like, you know, doing what you see here. He gets angry, he threatens, he makes, questionable remarks. He just gets really mad for no reason. And I guess it must have worked because he will get his way pretty much any time. And now he's in the court of law and he's trying to use these tactics and they're not working. But hopefully that audio fixes itself though.
If you can conduct yourself consistently with the decorum and respect inherent in the concepts of courts and judicial proceedings, the answer then is yes. So, I'm not going to have a debate with you about the law. I will ask you again, would you like to come back into this courtroom?
Are you going to kick me out? Are you going to kick me out?
Sir, I'm asking the questions right now.
Oof.
Would you like to come back into this courtroom? Yes or no?
Yeah. Are you going to kick me out?
Sir, it's a yes or no question. Would you like to come back
My
into
answer,
this?
my answer was based on the reason why I'm answering like that is because the moment I say something,
Oh, Lord.
it's going to get me put out. I don't want to keep hauling this stuff back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Then stop acting like a child.
It makes essentially it wastes his time, really.
I'm well aware of that, sir, that it delays the proceedings.
But then it's laid at my feet as if that's my attempt. You think I want to be over here?
Sir, I don't know what you want or don't want at this time. I know that we need to complete this trial and that you have frustrated today more than ever before the ability of this court to do that.
Like he needs to go to jail just for that.
I'm frustrated too. And nobody seems to take that into account. I'm just as frustrated as everybody.
That was manipulative.
Probably more.
Then I suggest that you conform your conduct to the requirements of courtesy and decorum so that you don't run the risk of forfeiting your right to be present. But that falls on you and you alone, sir.
There is no conduct that's I don't understand what you mean by that. I really don't.
Oh my God.
You may not understand it. I don't think that's accurate. I think you know exactly what you're doing.
If that's what you think, that's fine.
And you have demonstrated throughout this case that you pay attention to witnesses' testimony, that you make cogent and coherent objections at times, that you have even had evidence suppressed in this case or stricken. That's the word I used during this case. You made an opening statement. You communicate with witnesses. So you clearly read, write, and understand English. That's not an issue here, sir. Are you self-represented? Absolutely. Does that present difficulties and disadvantages? Absolutely. But that takes me back to when you waived your right to counsel. And you did so knowingly, freely, voluntarily, and with a full understanding of the disadvantages and advantages of doing so. Meaning advantages of having an attorney, the disadvantages of doing it on your own, and you made a deliberate decision to represent yourself, and that comes at a risk to you of, yes, at times not fully understanding the law, the rules of evidence, the rules of procedure, but you do so at your peril.
That's not fair to state, Your Honor, because
You know what? That's pretty much the whole thing. It's just him being like, "That's not fair. That's not fair," and then crying about it. That's pretty much the whole general gist of that video is just him having a baby fit in the other courtroom in his timeout chair, you know, just taking his headphones off and just really having a fit about it. The last one, I'm gonna try and make this quick one. I might just try to show the bit where they take the boxes from him and then, you know, like he just gets so mad for no reason. He gets so mad. Like he literally just has tantrums the whole time. And it makes no sense whatsoever. Okay. Ding. I might try to switch over over to the other monitor to help you guys out so that it looks a little better. There we go. And then bloop.
Right in front of where he's seated, so I can't presently see his face. I see his jacket is off, so I can see the outline of his arms, and I can see the jacket on the back of this chair. He is unmuted. I've confirmed previously regarding the audio working, and I will just ask him a second time, sir, do you have any requests as it relates to the draft packet of jury instructions, whether that be any additions, corrections, edits, or deletions?
This poor woman. She's literally dealing with a toddler.
Possible for the bailiffs to just move the boxes off the table so
Yes, I
we
think
can
that's
see.
fair. I'm going to advise the bailiff to remove the box so I can
Oh
see
no.
Mr. Brooks.
Not, don't move the boxes. Oh no. Oh no. You're gonna wake the baby. Don't do that. Why does this make me think of that one baby from flipping Spirited Away? They move the pillows and stuff. If you don't play with me, I'm gonna cry. Oh no, not his boxes. Oh no, his boxes.
Do you have any requests as it relates to the jury instructions? Any requests for instructions that aren't included that you believe should be included? Any edits?
Oh my god.
Or deletions from the packet that has been provided to you? Because I couldn't see you, sir. I've asked you twice now, and I'll ask you a third time. Do you have any requests
Oh my god.
as it relates to the jury instructions? Any additions, deletions, edits, or otherwise?
Hey man, you don't gotta talk to me like that.
Dude.
Do you have any requests?
First of all,
related to the jury instructions, sir.
Man, yeah, I got requests. It ain't like they gonna be honored though.
As it relates to the jury instructions, sir, what are your?
I heard what the hell you said, man.
Jiminy Christmas, man.
Very disrespectful.
Yeah, and I've been getting disrespected since the beginning of this whole process. So welcome to the club.
He actually has not. He literally has not been disrespected at all. This whole court proceeding has not. He literally, this judge has handled this so well. She literally was so calm, collected, talked to him like an adult, and he literally I've already said this. He throws fits. And she just has to sit there and deal with his disrespect and attitude in his mouth the whole time. Like, this seems very unfair, but she handles it so well. Like, bless that woman. And the thing is too, about this judge, is that during like the what do you call it? The victim, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's where the victims, or families of the victim will come up and, say their piece on the whole ordeal, and say something about the victim themselves. And you can definitely tell who's actually, feels for these victims and who feels for themselves. Because when the victims were giving their statement, I think it's the victim statement. I think that's what it's called. But the victims or the families of the victims would give their statements, and you would see the judge, she's crying. She's in tears, well, not crying, but she's got tears. I think especially when the mother and father of the 8-year-old came up to say their piece, she was very tearful. But then you look over at Darrel, and he's either got his head down, pretending he's quote unquote praying, reading a Bible, or just not paying attention in general. He's not even looking at him. And it's very telling. And the sad thing is that his closing argument is literally him in tears saying, well, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry you guys don't see me the way I see me. So that's a real shame. You guys are putting away a real nice guy here. And it's like, no. 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 But yeah, that's the kind of guy you're working with here.
Do you have any requests as it relates to the jury instructions?
Ain't nobody understand why I'm frustrated. How you gonna sit up there and make decisions based on what you think I said when I didn't get consent for you to do any such thing?
be upset, and I really do,
No, you
but
don't
I've made my
understand nothing.
determinations.
You don't understand nothing. You don't understand anything, Your Honor. You don't.
I'm going to mute him again because he's not answering the questions that I'm very clearly asking him, and I've given him.
Oh no, he's been muted.
As it relates to the jury instructions, I'll unmute.
I like her glasses, by the way. They're very pretty. Oh my god. He is absolutely throwing a fit.
I know the audio's turned up. I believe you can hear me. You've chosen not to put the headphones on. That's your choice. My final question to you, do you have any requests as it relates to the jury instructions?
I just told you, am I muted? Am I muted?
No.
I just told you, I don't know how many times I can't.
Oh my lord.
Then you should put the headphones on.
Don't you understand? What about that? Don't you
God,
understand?
he's literally just a full-blown child having a temper tantrum.
Have you asked for headphones to be provided, sir?
I shouldn't have to ask for them. I asked for my boxes to be moved.
I believe they took them away previously because you were so agitated. They were perhaps afraid you might break them.
Yeah, I'm still agitated. I ain't gonna stop being agitated. That ain't gonna stop.
Oh my lord. He's too much. Right back at you, buddy.
Mr. Brooks, do you have any requests as it relates to the jury
Yeah,
instructions?
I can hear what you're saying. I can hear what you're saying.
You just told me you didn't. So which one is
Yeah,
it?
I got the headphones on.
Oh god.
What are your requests as it relates? What are your
Oh
requests as it
my
relates to the
god.
jury instructions, sir?
This poor woman. Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god, dude. Just answer the flipping question. You know what? I said he's a child, but to be honest, this whole bit here is making me think of like an old man, like a grandfather. You're like, come on, Grandpappy, we gotta go. We gotta go back to the nursing home. He's like, I don't want to go to the nursing home. I don't want to do none of that. You can't make me go. You can't make me go. I can't hear you. Can't hear you right now. I don't want to go to the nursing home. I don't want to. That's what this is making me think of right now. It's just an old, flipping, angry old man. just just does not want to do what you want them to do. That's all I'm getting right now. A cranky old man. A cranky old coot.
Mr. Brooks, you're being disrespectful again.
You've been being disrespectful.
No, she hasn't.
I need to know what your position is regarding the jury instructions. And I need to know it now.
What do you mean? Who you talking to?
Bro, at this point, I've been like, well.
Whether you have any requests as it relates to the jury instructions, sir.
Yeah, first of all, why am I charged with 2 bail jumping when I was already charged in Milwaukee for the same bail jumping? That's double jeopardy.
It's not double jeopardy. Your objection is noted. It's overruled.
He's just trying to find something wrong with the world, and it's not working. But oh my lord.
For the same case, it's the same bail jumping charge. So how am I charged with that here?
Sir, I'm not going to provide a legal
He's so quiet that the
other than
thing can't even catch him.
Your objection is noted, but the jury will be instructed.
So pretty much, he throws a fit, gets all whiny and upset, and they give the boxes back to him. I don't know what they do after that. But he's just, generally, that's all this is him throwing an absolute fit. I'm not gonna make you guys go through all that, but it is in the description too, if you guys want to watch that. But yeah, it literally is just him throwing a hissy fit and just getting so mad and heated up for no reason. No reason at all. He just gets so mad. Well, technically there is a reason. It's because he wants to prolong the trial as long as he can, and he's not getting his way. So there's that. All right, give me 1 second. Let me move some stuff around. Let me move this over here. Yeah, I was trying to see if I did the Casey Anthony case already, because I feel like I did, but I just don't remember. Let me move myself over here. Perfect, perfect. And then I'll just do one of these. I also would recommend, when it comes to the Casey Anthony case, I know, there is a channel, she's obviously, she's, you know, she's got more than going on than I do, but I'm still gonna highly recommend her if you're into true crime stuff, because she does do a few true crime videos that are really interesting. And I also love her commentary, her reactions and commentary to the whole thing. I also love her form of storytelling, because she does do that with some of the cases that she talks about. Is both. I would recommend her highly. She's very nice. She does a really good job. Uh, and I just like the way she words it. But anywho, let me see if we can get us set up over here. You guys are gonna see. Bam. Ha. Is this gonna fit? Aw, yeah, it's gonna fit. Perfect. So, we already know quite a bit on Casey Anthony. If you don't know, I'm gonna try and go over it the best I can. Casey Anthony is technically the mother of, Kaylee Anthony, and Kaylee Anthony is unfortunately the one who has died. Kaylee, died when she was just 2 years old. She was just a little baby. Um, and unfortunately, she was killed. Now, of course, there's stuff in the air, speculation, but it is very clear. A lot of people really do believe, 100%, including myself, that Casey was the one that killed her daughter. There's just a lot of evidence piled towards her, and unfortunately, I don't know what may have caused it. I don't know if maybe certain jurors weren't sure, but apparently, she was voted not guilty, by the jury, which is very weird. I believe it was the jury, if I remember right. Yeah, there was a jury in this. Um, but pretty much the jury voted her not guilty. Um, I think there was just, it was probably because there were some things in the evidence that just wasn't, yeah, I'll turn on my music, that wasn't quite adding up. Certain things like, there was, I guess there was some blood in the car that she was in, which I'll have to tell the whole story here, but pretty much there was a little bits and pieces of evidence here and there, literally tiny little pieces of evidence that weren't adding up, and it just, in the end, the jury said, yeah, she's not guilty just because of those little things. And I'm not blaming the jury at all, because I believe there are jurors out there now that are like, I regret saying not guilty, I regret saying no, because it's obvious now that she definitely did it, but it is frustrating, very frustrating. But so I'll try and explain the story the best that I remember, when it came to the Casey Anthony case, or Kaylee Anthony. So Casey Anthony, was kind of a girl, was a party girl. She was very big in the partying. She still is. She's still in the partying. Don't let her fool you. She's a big party girl, and that's all she wanted to do. She wanted to party, she wanted to do drugs, she wanted to, live her life. And then, she got pregnant, didn't tell really anybody. I think she only told her parents, but she barely told anybody about it. And then in came Kaylee. And Kaylee was this 2-year-old, sweet little baby girl. She's, everybody loved her. She's just a little baby. And these two, started living with Casey's parents. I won't say their names because I don't remember them off the top of my head. I know the dad's name is George. What is the mom's name again? Cindy. That's it. Cindy and George. But they've been staying, she was staying with her parents, and her, and everything seemed to be fine, I guess, until, I guess, if I remember right, I'm trying to remember, I believe there was like a whole, oh yeah, it's right in here, I believe there was like this whole argument that went down, on Father's Day one year, and Casey ran off with Kaylee and went off to do her own thing, pretty much. And then, about a month later, a little over a month later, actually 31 days to be exact, Casey's mom calls 911. She calls and she's frantic, she's freaking out, she's saying, my granddaughter's missing, she's only 2 years old, my daughter's saying she's been gone for 31 days, we don't know where she is, we need help, we need somebody to come out and find her, she's only a toddler. And so the, I forget what they're called, but the police officer on the line says, okay, can I talk to the mom? Can I talk to the mother? Can I talk to your daughter? And Casey gets on the line, and Casey sounds like as if this was a regular Tuesday. Just, on the phone like, yeah, my daughter's been gone for 31 days. I've been trying to find her on my own, but I just couldn't, I couldn't do it anymore, so I had to ask for help, And it was just so calm that it almost felt weird. It was very weird. So, they go on this chase. They looking around and stuff. And Casey, is giving them this info saying like, oh, it was, Zanny the nanny. She has this full name, but let's be real here. Zanny's not real. Zanny's fake. If there's one thing we know, Casey is a liar. She's a big liar. But she's saying that Zanny the nanny, took Kaylee and ran away with her, and she don't know where she went. She's been looking for her though, in the middle of partying and doing drugs and drinking and having fun. Sorry, my cat. But, so while this is going on, they're now like, okay, so we'll look for the Zanny the nanny. Is there anything else we should know? What, like, where do you think she took her, or something like that? And she said, I don't know. I have no idea. I think she took her, like, here, there, and everywhere. I think there's some stuff in here. Oh, yeah. It says here that, they took her to, or she took them to, like, an apartment complex that wasn't even being used. And then took them to Universal Studios, pretty much saying like, oh, I work at Universal Studios, I know, I work there, and then took them up there, thinking that they were gonna get to go into the building, and then she laughs and says, oh yeah, I don't work here, and so She looks very suspicious. She looks very, very suspicious from then on. From the get-go, she looks very suspicious. So they start looking into her a bit more. And meanwhile, people are looking around. And at some point, which, mind you, by the way, the only reason why the parents were suspicious that Kaylee was missing was that there was a smell of like a decomposing body in the in Casey's car. It was very weird. It smelled very strongly of a decomposing body. And apparently they even set up a cadaver dog to sniff it and had zeroed in on it from what it says here, which is wild. I think that's what set them off, is like, Kaylee's in trouble. So sorry, I'm trying to piece it together here. So at this point, things are looking extremely suspicious. It's not quite pinpointing right. She's not making any sense. So she's been put in jail. And being interrogated. You know, she's starting to look a little weird. But meanwhile, all this is going on. There's like all kinds of stuff going on here. I'm just trying to find. Trying to see where. Okay, so they keep examining the car. There was like a bond, like they even put like a bail bond on her, or like a bail price, you know what I mean, like $500,000, and then a bounty hunter pays the bail and lets her go free, and saying like, oh yeah, she'll pinpoint exactly where her child is. She doesn't. She steals money. So they put her back in jail. He's just like, well, she didn't show me anything, so I did all I could do. It's like, my job's done here. I'm just gonna see myself out. And that's it. That's the whole ordeal. But then, about December 11th, 2008, they find the remains of a young girl. These remains were later to be found out to be Kaylee's remains. So, this little girl had been killed and buried. Now, they're not sure if it was like an accidental thing or if it was on purpose. They're not quite sure. I'll give them that. It was untelling what could have happened. But there was duct tape on her mouth, nose, and jaw, which meant that she probably wouldn't have been able to breathe of any sort. So it could have been due to asphyxiation. But that being said, unfortunately, her remains were found. They were actually found, I believe it says, they were found by a utility worker. In which case, Casey tries to say like, oh, my dad was a part of this, and that utility worker was also part of it. He helped set it up. Just trying to pinpoint whoever it is that's not her. And yeah, it didn't fly. It didn't fly quite well. But eventually they do go into trial, and I guess her defense attorney did really well. Like he's very, very good. But yeah, she ends up getting not guilty. And it was mostly just due to a few little pieces of evidence not being quite right. And that's it. That's literally the only reason, I believe, from what I understand. And then there's also like theorizing and stuff. Like they literally put theories and these little bits and pieces are like, well, this evidence here doesn't make sense. This evidence here is kind of weird. And that's it. That's why she got out scot-free. With no No slap to the wrist. She literally got out acquitted. She was good. Well, I don't know about acquitted, but she got out, not guilty. And it is absolutely like, and then there's like the whole thing where I guess one of the parents was searching up certain things. Like one of the things was like they found some like stuff on her computer saying that she searched this stuff up, and apparently Cindy, her mom, was saying like, "Oh no, that was me," and it's untelling if that was just like to lie to cover for her daughter or what, but it was not a smart thing to do. That's all I can say. She did go to jail for lying to police. But she was let go like 3 years, or after 3 years. She was only supposed to stay in there for 4 years, and she got out in 3 years for good behavior, which is hilarious. But yeah, now it's now 11 years later. She actually called the police not long ago. I think it was like last year. She called the police to say like, this lady spilled a drink on me and she's being real rude, and I feel like my life's being threatened right now. I feel like she's gonna kill me and all this stuff. And then I think it was just last year, literally like in December, came out with a documentary series that I'd love to watch just to laugh at it, but for now I'm just not going to, because I don't want to right now. It's a whole fun mess, but yeah. I don't even know what to say about this whole case. It throws me for a loop, but apparently she's been titled as the most hated woman in America, and I believe it, because like that's horrible. That's horrible. What she did was bad, and she got let go with no like punishment whatsoever for that. But with that being said, I am gonna show the JCS video, just because he actually goes more into depth. It is an hour long, but I feel like we can, well, actually let's take a little break. We'll take a little break and we'll come back. Does that sound good? I think that sounds good. Let me turn my music back on. I'm just sitting here thinking like, this is gonna be an hour long. We've already been here for an hour. Let's take a little break. Take a little breather. We'll come back. This is not the right... Here it is. We'll turn the music back on. Just kind of chill for a bit. And we'll come back. Alright? Okay. Okay. Alright. Break time. Taking a break. Go get yourself some drinks. Some water. Stretch your leggies. Get a snack. Alright? Alright. Break time. I have returned. Yes, I have the water. What was that? The aqua... But not Aquafina. It's store brand water. A fresh store brand water. Insert store name here. Water. Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, let's get us set up here. I think it's this one. Now, I only have 2 videos for Casey Anthony, just because JCS really does a good job explaining what happened. They literally have all the information just there. And then the other one is going to be over the, what do you call it? Gosh darn it, what did you call it? Documentary series, that's what it is. But it's just over someone they tried to get to interview, and yeah. But, here we go. Bam. It fits. Look at that. Wham. Here you go.
Most of you will already be aware of who 2-year-old Kaylee Anthony was. The majority will know that she sadly passed away at some point between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. on June 16th, 2008. Her death is
Looks so sweet,
undoubtedly
too.
the most heartbreaking part of this story, and we only need a single word to epitomize her short life: tragic. But the primary subject of this video is not about the life nor the death of Kaylee Marie Anthony. It is in fact about the psychological constitution of her mother, 22-year-old Casey Marie Anthony. So rather than tragic, you'll find the words disturbing and perplexing to be far better suited to the theme of this video. One of the many reasons this case is exceptional is how the present day's topic of discussion has little to do with the actual occurrences of the crime, but in fact the subsequent developments that followed. People are no longer talking about how or even why Kaylee Anthony passed away. They are instead talking about the manner in which a mother responded to her daughter's death. Given all the acquired information we now have, even if we afford this person the most morally acceptable possibility of what occurred, her manner of conduct was still unimaginably cold-blooded. This is driven home by the fact she was evaluated by 2 clinical psychologists during her time in custody, and not a single abnormality was discovered with relation to her psychological state. In other words, there were no signs of mental illness whatsoever. And this makes the character study of Casey Anthony just as fascinating as it is terrifying. A human being's state of mind is something most accurately assessed with the full capacity of hindsight. So before we evaluate our first segment of raw footage, here's a quick rundown of each of the essential moments that will give you a broader understanding of what we're actually dealing with. On the 15th of July, 2008, Orlando police received a call from Cindy Anthony, the grandmother of the victim.
911, what's your emergency? I called a little bit ago, the deputy sheriff. I found out my granddaughter has been taken. She has been missing for a month. We're talking about a 3-year-old little girl. My daughter finally admitted that the baby's in the store. I need to find her. Your daughter admitted that the baby is where? But the babysitter took her a month ago. My daughter's been looking for her. I told you my daughter was missing for a month. I just found her today, but I can't find my granddaughter. And she just admitted to me that she's been trying to find her herself. There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car.
Okay, what is the 3-year-old's name?
Kaylee, Caylee, Anthony.
Kaylee Anthony?
Yes.
How long has she been missing for?
I have not seen her since the 7th of June.
Is your daughter there?
Yes.
Can I speak with her?
Hey, Spanish Sheriff's Department, they want to talk to you. Answer the question. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Can you tell me what's going on a little bit?
I'm sorry?
Can you tell me a little bit what's going on?
My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
Notice how she says, I don't have anything to talk about with them. That's so weird. You know, I've heard and read so many times that if this was an actual mother, she'd be freaking out, you know, absolutely going feral trying to find this child, because you know that's kind of what a mom would do. But this girl sounds like it's it's casual Tuesday or something, and she couldn't give a crap. She's missing out on some good stuff, if you know what I mean.
And you know who has her?
I know who has her. I tried to contact her. I actually received a phone call today now from a number that is no longer in service. I did get to speak to my daughter for about a moment, about a minute.
Who has her? Do you have a name?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
To give some context to this bizarre phone call, Casey Anthony had left the family home with her daughter a month earlier, stating that she had a work assignment in Tampa and would be traveling the entire time. Kaylee's grandparents would ask repeatedly over the following month to see, or at least speak to their granddaughter, but Casey claimed each and every time that she was too busy with work and that Kaylee was with a nanny who went by the name Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, or Zanny for short. On July 15th, exactly 6 weeks after Kaylee was last seen by her grandparents, George Anthony received a phone call that the family car was at the impound lot. This immediately alerted suspicion, as it was the same car Casey had supposedly been traveling with for work. Suspicion turned into panic once they picked up the vehicle, and George discovered a strong odor emanating from the trunk, one that he recognized from his years as a police officer, and found comparable to that of human decomposition. Through contacting one of Casey's friends, her parents managed to track her down at her boyfriend's house in Orlando, where they were found smoking marijuana and watching TV. When inquired over the whereabouts of her daughter, Casey stated that she had been kidnapped 31 days before by the supposed babysitter. It was a
Notice that how they say how they found her. They found their daughter sitting on the couch with her boyfriend, smoking marijuana and watching TV. Definitely does not sound like a mother who's now lost her child for 31 days and does not know where this child is. Definitely does not sound like one. It sounds like a girl who just got rid of the luggage. I'd hate to use that word for dear little Kaylee, but got rid of the quote unquote luggage and is now living her life the way she wants. And that's just horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Also, I apologize for pausing on this picture to her mom. I do apologize. But anyways.
At that moment, Cindy Anthony called 911.
911, what's your emergency? Who has her? Do you have a name?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
Who is that? Babysitter?
She's been my nanny for about a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Why are you calling now? Why didn't you call 31 days ago?
I've been looking for her and have gone through other resources to try to find her, which was stupid. I think the officers are here.
The officers are there?
Yes.
Now let's indulge in the world of fantasy for just a moment and pretend all of what Casey had just stated was true. She had indeed been working, and her daughter was in fact kidnapped by the babysitter a month earlier. The immediate premise most would gather would be that Casey had no regard for her daughter whatsoever. In the 911 call, there was no urgency nor concern in her voice, and rather than her volunteering information, which most parents would do in a frantic manner, it had to be acquired by the dispatcher through repeated inquisition. All you have to do is compare Casey's dialogue to that of her mother's in the same phone call. One was indifferent, while the other was distraught. Police would have picked up on this immediately. Even without the bizarre phone call, the circumstances alone would make Casey the prime suspect in her daughter's disappearance. She was immediately interviewed as a witness, which unbeknownst to her, was the detective's first step in locking her into as many lies as possible.
Day right now is July 16, 2008. The time right now is 04:11 hours. I'm Detective Mellish with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. I am with Casey Anthony, is that correct?
Yes.
Casey, you understand this is being recorded?
Yes.
You have any objection to that?
No.
All right. Casey, I got a call here in reference to a missing child. You took Casey to a babysitter's house.
Yes.
And who was this babysitter?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
Okay. How long had you known Zenaida?
Almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years Christmas this year.
And where did you meet her? Who did you meet her through?
A mutual friend. His name is Jeffrey Michael Hopkins. I met him at Nickelodeon at Universal, and I met her through him. She was his son's nanny at the time.
Does Jeffrey still work at Universal?
No, he does not.
How long has it been since he left?
9-10 months, give or take. He moved up to North Carolina for a short time and moved down to Jacksonville within the last 3 months.
How would you characterize your relationship with Miss Anthony?
More or less acquaintances.
Weren't very good friends?
Not very good friends.
Did you ever work at Universal Studios?
I did.
When did you work at Universal Studios?
Approximately 2002.
How long did you work there for?
1 year.
Did you ever work there at the same time that Casey Anthony worked there?
I don't think so.
You don't recall ever seeing her there?
Never.
Did you ever introduce Casey Anthony to a woman by the name of Zenaida Gonzalez?
I did not.
Did you ever use Zenaida Gonzalez as a nanny?
No, sir.
Do you have any children?
No, sir.
Have you lived in the Orlando area consistently since 2002?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever lived in Jacksonville?
No, sir.
Have you ever lived in North Carolina?
No, sir.
Did you see Casey Anthony in the month of June of 2008?
No, sir.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
About a week and a half ago.
Do you know a telephone number for him?
I can find a number for him. I don't know a number offhand. No, I do not.
So you met Zenaida through Jeffrey Hopkins.
I did.
And
yes.
his son Zach Hopkins, I guess. Zenaida used to watch over Zach?
Yes.
And when did she start watching over your child?
It's been within the last year and a half, 2 years that she started watching Kaylee.
How would you normally drop off, or how would you normally do the exchange with your child and Zenaida? Would you drop the child off? Would she meet you somewhere?
I would usually drop her off. For a few months, we would go over to Jeff's house. He lived over in Avalon Park.
And you would go to Jeff's house why?
To drop off Kaylee. That's where Zenaida would go to watch both of the kids.
Okay.
It was in a nice centralized area. He had a decent sized house. It was good room for the two of them.
It's so weird that she, like, I know, like I said, Zanny the nanny is fake. She's fake. She's not real. But it's just so weird to me that she would literally just drop her child off at this random lady's house. She literally knows her through a coworker. And doesn't question anything, doesn't ask the lady anything. She's just like, well, here's my kid. Good luck. And then just takes off without the child for months. Well, maybe I'm reading that wrong, the months bit, but just takes off. Not even, questioning who this lady is or anything. Just leaves her with this random lady she doesn't really know that well. It's very concerning.
Go back to your statement. You dropped off Kaylee June 9th, and walk me through. You dropped her off to go to work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Get off of work and go from there.
I got off of work, left Universal, driving back to pick up Kaylee like a normal day, and I show up to the apartment, knock on the door, nobody answers. So I call Zenaida's cell phone, and it's out of service. I didn't really want to come home. I wasn't sure what I'd say about not knowing where Kaylee was. Still hoping that I would get a call or, find out that Kaylee was coming back so then I could go get her. And I ended up going to my boyfriend Anthony's house.
TTS, this is really not the best time for that, but congrats to you, I guess. This really isn't the place for that. But congrats to you. I'm glad you got what you were hoping for.
Who lives in Sutton Place.
Did you talk to Anthony about what happened with Kaylee?
No, I did not.
Have you talked to anyone about Kaylee, about your incident with Kaylee? Or the fact that she's missing?
A couple people, a couple mutual friends.
Who did you talk to about it?
I talked to Jeffrey Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Juliette Lewis. She's one of my coworkers at Universal.
She works. You still work at Universal?
Yes.
What do you do at Universal?
I'm an event coordinator.
Okay. What is Juliet? What position is she? Where she work?
She's also an event coordinator. We work in the same department.
Juliette Lewis doesn't exist. Casey had briefly worked at
Another
Universal, but hadn't been employed there for over 2 years prior to this interview. And she wasn't an event coordinator. She stood behind a kiosk and sold photos of people after they had been on the Incredible Hulk ride.
Yeah,
Literally just, she's like, I was an event coordinator. I had like an interesting set of skills. And she was just a lady that passed out pictures to one of the theme park rides. So, crime? Possibly crime, yes. But, yep. Possibly crime. But didn't I do... Oh, that weird little dog meme? Yes, I've seen it.
Number for Juliet?
Ooh, offhand, I can't think of one.
Is she in your SIM card?
No, she's not. Some of the more recent numbers, her number just changed because she just moved back up north. She, within the last 2 months, has finished moving up to New York. She's subleasing her apartment.
So Juliet doesn't work at the Universal anymore?
No, she does not.
I'm gonna eat 10 waffles. I'm crazy.
What's the reason, I asked you this before, and I'll ask you just for the record. What's
Bonzoid.
the reason you didn't call the police?
Yeah, the Borzoi.
I think part of me was naive enough to
Yeah, I know about that one.
myself, which obviously I couldn't. And I was scared that something would happen to her if I did notify the authorities or got the media involved. Just the fear of the unknown.
What's this case?
Fear of the potential of Kaylee getting
It's
sick, of not seeing my daughter.
Casey Anthony.
I asked you this at the onset and I asked you before we went on tape, and I'll ask you again just to make sure we're clear. Is there anything about this
I'm the
story
only
you
one
felt
watching.
is untrue?
Pretty
Or
much.
is there anything that you want to change or divert from what you've already told me?
I guess these cases were not grabbing people's interest. Not anymore, I'm not.
Kaylee?
No, sir.
Did you hurt Kaylee or leave her somewhere and you're worried that if we find that out that people are going to look at you a wrong way?
No, sir.
Oh, it's already from the get-go.
Took your
They're already gonna look at her the wrong way.
That I've seen with my daughter, yes.
Is she Puerto Rican? Is she Dominican? Is she white?
She's mixed. She's black and Puerto Rican.
Is there any underlying cause to why Zenaida would have taken your job?
Nothing that...
Did she ever make any statements to you about...
Only how much she loves Kaylee and how great of a kid she is.
And when you talked to Jeffrey afterwards, I'm assuming that Jeffrey's child is still with him?
His child is still with him.
A true crime screen?
Up in New England, up in New York or
yes,
something?
she has family down south.
Which one?
In New York. She's originally from New York.
You remember?
Grew up there, moved down here, went to the University of Florida.
Because I've done 4 now so far.
Doesn't exist. Casey never had a babysitter. Being the retrospective viewer, we have the benefit of knowing these are outright fabrications, and these meticulous details are a textbook sign of a pathological liar. She speaks eloquently and naturally, as if her dialogue is a reflex response to the questions she's being asked, when in reality, each of these minor details are calculated
probably
and
the first
deliberately
one.
placed for the purpose of deception, and the nonchalant, easygoing tone she
I think I do.
employs is used to camouflage anxiety. Casey has not only become accustomed to manipulation, she has become extremely skilled in how to use it effectively. It takes us to the concept of nurture and how it most likely had a significant impact on her current circumstances. If we go through what we know about Casey's domestic history, there are numerous occasions where she had gotten away with things that most would not, simply due to the fact that she was able to continuously lie without conscience. A prime example could be when she was 18 years old and stopped attending class midway through her senior year. She literally skipped the entire second half of her final year to go hang out with her older boyfriend. Her parents became suspicious on several occasions, yet each and every time, Casey had some whimsical excuse to which she was given the benefit of the doubt. Then just days before graduation, her parents were informed by the school of her truancy and that she would not be graduating. When confronted, Casey's excuse was that her timetable was mixed up by the school, causing her to miss classes through no fault of her own. This is obviously a completely baffling excuse that no sane person would ever believe. Yet whether it be through denial or an overprotective nature, Casey's parents not only took her at her word, but even shielded her from the consequences of her actions. They lied to all their family friends that she graduated with honors, and even threw her an extravagant graduation party the day after. This is just one of the many occurrences where Casey faced no ramifications for misconduct. It seemed to give her the belief that no matter what she did,
Oh,
as
probably
long
the
as she
second
could
one.
spin one lie after another, or at least drag a lie out for as long as possible, everything would work itself out.
She looks like
the
a
truth
hot
is that
mess.
everything did work itself out when she was dealing with her parents, and she evidently thought the same rules applied with regard to national law and a missing child's investigation. After the initial statement you just heard, Casey was asked if she could take police to all places of interest. She happily obliged, and then proceeded to lead them to a multitude of fake addresses which she had nothing to do with. She then took them to her supposed office at Universal Studios and literally led 3 senior investigators to the very end of the building, taking over 25 minutes to walk to, before she finally turned around, put her hands in her back pockets, laughed, and admitted that she didn't work there. Completely dumbfounded, the detectives placed her under arrest and took her to a conference room in the building for what was essentially an interrogation.
Since I left you this morning, I've gone to every address that you've told me. I came over here, I've already talked to all the employees. I found out all these names that you're giving me are people that either never worked here or have been fired here for a long time ago. Okay, so where we are right now is in a position that doesn't look very good for you. Because obviously, I know, and you know, that everything you told me is a lie, correct?
Not everything.
The time of year for the snow killer?
Including where Kaylee is right now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where she is.
Sure you do. And here's
absolutely
listen,
do not know where she
let me explain something. Looking at you, I know that everything that you've told me is a lie. I am very confident, just by having talked to you this short period of time, that you know where she is.
I legitimately have not seen my daughter in 5 weeks. I didn't let anything happen to her, except I trusted her with somebody that had been taking care of her, that had been taking good care of her.
Herself. that's who she trusted her. That's who she trusted this child with, is herself, and she failed very miserably. Like, I ain't wrong, gosh darn it.
2 months ago?
No, he hasn't worked here for quite a while.
10 months? How long?
It's been at least 10 months.
Okay. He got
Oh, okay, bye. Thanks for joining in.
Since 2002.
We put a lot more.
Tell me everything when I get back.
Realize we put together.
Oh, okay.
My question to you is, we're in this office because our purpose in coming here was to do what?
I'm trying to think of places where I know she's been.
You're not answering my questions. Do you want us to help?
Yes,
You want to help us find your daughter?
I do want you to
Well,
help.
a good starting point would be to answer the questions, okay? If I say to you, we're here because, and then you just ignore that like I never asked it, and go off in some other direction, is that answering the question?
No.
Okay. Let's go through this again. We're here because.
Because I lied, because I brought you up here, and honestly I was reaching for
No, stop
another
right there.
avenue.
I want you to tell me how lying to us is going to help us find your daughter.
It's not going to.
Well, then if the main thing you want to do is find your daughter, and you don't think lying to us is going to help us find her, why would you do that?
Because I'm scared, and I know I'm running out of options. It's been a month.
What are you scared of?
I'm scared of not seeing my daughter ever again.
I'm a parent too. I would have been beside myself.
I have been.
I would have called the police immediately, and that's the part that I just don't understand. Well,
I
we've
didn't know
got so
what
many
to do.
resources out there that we could help on day one.
You didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do. At that point, I'm thinking, okay, they haven't been gone that long. Maybe I can find them. Maybe I can track them down.
We're not stupid, okay? And what you're doing right now is you're treating us like we're stupid. Everything that's coming out of your mouth is a lie. Everything. Either you gave Kaylee to someone and you don't want anyone to find out because you think you're a bad mom, or something happened to Kaylee and Kaylee's buried somewhere or in a trash can somewhere, and you had something to do with it. Either way, right now, is not a very pretty picture to be painting. You're painting yourself as a very bad person. It needs to end.
The truthful thing is that I have not seen my daughter. The last time that I saw her was on the 9th of June.
Remember we had those 2 people that we were talking about, the person who had an accident and a person who's just a cold-blooded, callous monster? That's telling me that you are the second person, this cold-blooded, callous monster who doesn't care and doesn't want to help because she's afraid that something so heinous happened that everyone's going to look at her and say, she's a monster, she deserves to go away, she deserves to never see the light of day, this bad thing should happen to her. I don't want to believe that right now, but you're giving me no choice. Tell us what happened to Kaylee. Tell us what happened to Kaylee.
I dropped off Kaylee, and that's the last time that I've seen her. I dropped her off.
Where did you drop her off?
I dropped her off at that apartment.
No, you didn't.
You dropped her off in the woods.
Did you just think that one day she's just going to show up at your house?
No, I sat around yesterday trying to figure out what to do. I'm glad that I ended up seeing my mom, that all of that stuff happened. It happened for a reason because
You're glad you saw your mom. You could have saw your mom 5 weeks ago and said, Mom, I don't know where.
I saw my mom's reaction right off the bat, and it would have been the same from the get-go.
So wait a minute, you're more afraid of your mom's reaction than you are if you ever see your daughter again?
No, I'm absolutely petrified. Absolutely petrified. I know my mom will never forgive me. I'm never going to forgive myself.
Is it that there's some other thing more important in your life right now that you just weren't really focused on what you were saying when you told us? So you kind of just accidentally told us you had an office here and we needed to be here, or did you purposely mislead us? Which of those two is it?
I purposely misled.
Okay, so you purposely misled us. This was all an attempt to help find your daughter, right? That makes sense to you, correct?
In a backwards sort of way, yes.
In a backwards sort
I'm
of way.
coming back to places that are familiar to me, that I know are familiar to her. Familiar situations that maybe, just maybe, would help. She's almost 3.
She's almost 3. What do you think, she's going to take a cab here? I mean,
I know
how did you think she's going to get here?
Because she's with someone else.
She's with someone else who's hid her from you for 5 weeks.
Yes.
Why would a person who has hid your daughter from you for 5 weeks, okay, bring her to the building that you used to work at?
I don't know what else to do anymore. If I knew where she was, if something would have happened, I would have admitted that a long time ago.
Do you believe thinking up more lies to tell us will help us?
Yes.
With someone that I absolutely do not trust, and that I'm absolutely scared that
you don't trust yet was babysitting your daughter for a year.
I don't trust her now because of what happened.
Who did you call first? Who did you go to for help first to help try to find her?
No one.
Oh, no one. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'm glad we got that straightened out.
Casey was then taken to the county jail, where she in the evening hours was able to make a phone call, and just happened to see her mother on the local news moments before speaking to her.
Yeah, this really, what you're about to hear, this is what's really telling about Casey's true personality, about her true colors. She's not some sad, scared mother who's lost her child. No, she's a spoiled brat who's just trying to get out of trouble and trying to get out of, being a parent, because apparently she said she didn't want to be one. And she says she was being forced. So now she's just trying to get out of trouble, and this is her way of doing it. She tries to sweet talk. She sounds all nice and sweet, and I don't know where she is, but I spent all day figuring out what to do because I don't know what to do, and I don't know where she is, and I don't know where Zanny is. And it's like, yeah, that's not the real her. This is the real her.
Hey, sweetie. Oh, I just saw your nice little cameo on TV. Which one? What do you mean, which one? Which one? I did 4 different ones, and I don't know. I haven't seen them all. I've only seen 1 or 2 so far. You don't know what my involvement is and stuff? Casey. Mom. What? No. I don't know what your involvement is, sweetheart. You're not telling me where she's at. Because I don't f***ing know where she's at. Are you kidding me? Casey, don't waste your call to scream and holler at me. Waste my call sitting in the jail? Whose fault is you sitting in the jail? You're blaming me that you're sitting in the jail? Blame yourself for telling lies. You mean it's not your fault? What do you mean it's not your fault, sweetheart? If you'd have told them the truth and not lied about everything, they wouldn't... Do me a favor, just tell me what Tony's number is. I don't want to talk to you right now. I don't have his number. We'll get it from Lee because I know Lee's at the house. Get Tony's number for me.
Hey.
Hey, can you give me Tony's number?
I can do that. I don't know what real good it's going to do you at this point.
Well, I'd like to talk to him anyway.
Okay.
Because I called to talk to my mother, and it's f***ing waste. Oh, by the way, I don't want any of you coming up here when I have my first hearing for bond and everything else. Like, don't even waste your time coming up here.
You're making it real tough for anybody to want to try to... I'm not going around and around with you. That's pretty pointless. Christina would love to talk to you because she thinks that you will tell her what's going on. Frankly, we're going to find out. Everything
I
that
have
you're
no
telling them
clue where
is a
Kaylee
lie.
is. If I knew where Kaylee was, do you think any of this would be happening? No.
Anyway, you only got a couple minutes with us, so I'm not going to let you completely waste it. Here's Christina. She thinks she can get through.
No, I want Tony's number. I'm not talking to anybody else.
Hello?
Hi, I'm glad everybody's at my house. Do me a favor, get my brother back because I need Tony's number.
Does Tony have anything to do with Kaylee?
No, nothing.
Okay, so why do you want to talk to Tony?
my boyfriend, and I won't actually try to sit and talk to him because I didn't get a chance to talk to him earlier because I got arrested on whim today. I just want to talk to Tony, get a little bit of...
Casey, you have to tell me if you know anything about Kaylee.
Sweetheart,
if anything happens to Kaylee, Casey, I'll die. You understand? I'll die. If anything happens to that baby.
Oh my god, calling you guys, a waste.
Oh man, that's... I've heard this call at least 3 times now, and it absolutely boils my blood. This poor girl, Christina, is the best friend, and she's just like, if anything happens to that child, I will die. I will just... And it's just so flipping heartbreaking to hear this girl, because she is like about to break down into tears. Probably the umpteenth time today, because she's just so brokenhearted. She don't know where this baby is. And it's not even hers. And yet you have the actual mother who's just like, oh my god, this was a waste to call you guys. This was such a huge waste. Why don't you guys just give me Tony's number? It's like, bro, your child's missing. Do you realize your child's missing? Are we not aware that your baby's missing? Hello? Hello? Earth to Casey. Earth to Casey. Hello? Casey? Hello? Wake up, Casey. You're not in dreamland, little fairy tale land anymore. Wake up. Casey, you're in a jail cell. And you're about to be tried for murder. Casey, where's your child? God's sake.
Casey
Sorry, I had to
appeared
give
in
my
court the
piece.
next
I
morning
apologize.
And was initially denied bail by the judge. He cited his reason as her undeniable disregard for the welfare of her own child. She was kept in protective custody, and it would be 9 days until she received her first visit from her parents.
Hi. Sweetie, we've been watching you for so long. You haven't? I love you. I love you too. Hi. We've been seeing you sitting down. We forgive anything that you've said. Or done.
Hold on. Can we turn the volume down? Yeah, you can probably hear it. My head's gonna explode.
What's that T-shirt? I didn't get a chance to ask him, other things
Kaylee's
besides.
picture's on the back.
Is it? Can Dad show me the shirt?
Yeah, turn around so she can see. It's the Never Lose Hope Foundation. Do you see it?
I can see part of it, yeah.
Oh.
Have you seen me? And then it has the information on how to contact.
Okay.
Oh, you know what though? So here's the thing. Let's just be real here. The documentary, the new documentary that they tried to come out with Casey, Casey tries to frame her dad for Kaylee's murder, along with some other things that you'll probably get the idea of, as we watch this video. That is just absolutely horrible. And meanwhile, her dad has the picture of his granddaughter on the back of his shirt with all this information saying, hey, if you've seen this child, please contact us. Please let us know, because we would love to know where Kaylee is so we can take her home. And meanwhile, and they even set up a foundation for her. Meanwhile, Casey's over here like, oh, yeah, that's great. Okay. Uh-huh. Anyway, it's about me. You guys came to visit me. Oh my god. This is so nice. I've literally seen this twice now. This girl flippin' is the worst human being on this planet. And it makes me so mad. I just can't fathom how anyone functions like this. But she does. She does.
Casey, you don't realize that the whole United States is looking for our Kaylee.
I know that, Mom.
Her cover's going to be on People magazine in a few days.
Okay.
With a readership of over
I'm
46
surprised she didn't go,
million
but
adults in
my
America,
picture's not on
having
it.
a missing
Oh.
child on the
Like,
front cover of People
girl, are you
magazine would
serious?
seem as a godsend to most. Yet Casey's response is almost as if it's a lost cause.
Everybody is looking for her.
Good.
Everybody is looking for her. Are we going to be able to find her, do you think?
I hope we can, Mom. Now, I didn't get a chance to ask Lee.
Can you straight up so I can look into your eyes, darling. Thank you. I need I need to do that. It's okay to cry, Casey.
Oh, Lord.
We've all been crying.
Setting aside morality and ethics for just a moment, Casey at this point would be emotionally exhausted. She had been sitting in an isolated jail cell for almost 2 weeks as the entire world was turning against her. Anyone in her position, guilty or otherwise, would be at near breaking point, and her composed exterior now finally slips. She, for a brief moment, allows herself to be vulnerable, and for perhaps the first time, expresses the pain of her situation. This is one of the few moments where Casey's true self is on display. Of itself, it's a touching moment between a mother and daughter, yet if we add in the context of the surrounding elements, she is only expressing this pain for herself. Just a moment ago, when she saw her deceased daughter's face on her father's shirt, none of this emotion came out.
Casey, I want to ask you just a couple questions.
The rest of the visit is extremely bizarre. Casey's parents try to extract any information they can about Kaylee's possible whereabouts, and each time are essentially dismissed by Casey as if they're asking pointless and irritating questions.
Do we have any pictures of Sandy's apartment?
Aline and I already talked about this. I don't know. It could be on the disc at home. I don't know.
What is I can't get into your,
I gave Lee everything already. I gave Lee all of the passwords, everything we could possibly
I want to
think
get
of all over again.
I want to get some video clips off Kaylee because the video clip with Grandpa is really helping people. Still pictures don't show.
No, they don't show her personality.
Right, and we need to show her personality, so I need to make sure we get that password.
Yeah, I gave Lee the password.
Please look up, sweetheart. I need to see your eyes.
I want to be able to look at you guys too. I can't look at you and look at the camera.
Well, you don't have to look at the camera. Look at me.
I'm looking at you.
Okay.
You're sitting very low.
I know.
The exchange switches back and forth from inquisitive and challenging to sympathetic and loving, and every time her parents stop inquiring over the case and show that they still care about Casey herself is when the tears come out.
Do you want to speak to your father now?
Sure.
Okay.
Hey, gorgeous, how you doing?
I look like hell.
Well, you know something? You really need to keep your spirit high for all this.
I haven't been crying while I've been in here.
Well, you know
trying
something?
to read books and do other things to keep my mind off of stuff.
Well, you know, I want to be able to reach out and hug you and give you the big Papa Joe hug. But you know, we got to get that little girl back any way we can, and we're
Dad,
doing everything we can.
My only concern. I gave Lee a statement. I want him to speak to.
Uh,
Give them a statement specifically from me. He's gonna give them an exact quote.
Every time Casey's parents mention...
Notice she, like, touches her face all the time. Like, she does a lot of crying. So you may notice it, too. It's any time that they're like, hey, honey, I'm so sorry, honey. It's okay, girl. And she's just like, oh, yes, I know, it's so tough. I've been really doing really well. I've been toughing it out. And then it'll be like, oh, we're trying the best we can to find Kaylee. Oh, yeah, Kaylee. Yep. Yeah, Kaylee. Yep. Who's Kaylee again? I forgot. Yeah, Kaylee. Yep. I totally know who Kaylee is. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. We're looking for that child. Yep. I totally know. Totally.
People are willing to help with the search, Casey dismisses their credibility and even attacks some of their characters while she's at it.
Tara?
Tara from Michigan.
You mean Mark's psycho ex-wife, Tara?
Yes.
Listen. People like Tara, people like Jesse who are maybe trying to help, even Christina, God bless her, don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I want you to know, I want to take your pain away from you. So, you know, you can tell me anything.
I know that, Dad.
I miss you, sweetie.
I know that. I miss you too.
Tears, waterworks.
Better dad and better grandpa, you know?
You've been a great dad and you've been the best grandfather. Don't for a second think otherwise.
Well, you know,
you and Mom have been
Dang.
the best grandparents. Kaylee's been so lucky. Kaylee is so lucky to have both of you.
not saying, you know, that our house is empty without both of you there. It's empty. All the little things that we took for granted, we miss them so much.
That's exactly how I feel.
All your little things and all her little things. It hurts. We're not there. Mom and I are just going through the motions, you know.
And this girl got 3 years in jail.
Well, you probably eat a lot of things you never used to eat before because when you're hungry, you'll eat.
I hated bologna. I've been eating bologna and cheese on occasion. Grits. I don't do grits at all. It's terrible.
Well, you know what? You're going to eat what's in front of you.
We get another glimpse at Casey's skill in fabricating information and her ability to intertwine specific details to afford her lies some credibility. These minor intricacies are what would make her extremely convincing if we didn't happen to know otherwise.
They never searched by her full name. They searched by Zenaida Fernandez, whereas Zenaida Gonzalez never by her full name.
And it's Z-E-N.
Z-E-N-A-I-D-A. I don't think she has a middle name. There was never a middle name on anything that I remember seeing. And I know she went by both last names. She always has. Since she was younger, since her mom remarried.
So Flores Gonzalez, and you don't know what her stepdad.
Fernandez Gonzalez.
But you don't know what Fernandez Gonzalez.
I think her dad's first name is Victor. Her stepdad, or that could be her real dad, but I remember her saying Victor. Victor and Gloria were her parents.
Victor and Gloria are her parents, but they're separated or divorced.
They are as of now, yeah. That was her stepdad.
Divorced.
But I know she has a lot of money. That's where she got the car from.
I only get one or two phone calls a day that, you know, that are not nice phone calls, but I get many, many, many phone calls and many people reaching out that just believe in you. They believe in us finding Kaylee. Okay? So keep your head up high. But if you think of anything that could help, don't be afraid.
Oh, I won't hesitate to let you guys know.
You have to keep things positive. Positive feelings, Casey.
Oh, I know. I have been. I've been staying as positive as I can.
But do you think after this long she'd still be local?
There's a possibility.
What's your gut telling you right now?
My gut's telling me that she's okay.
Okay. And your gut tells you that she's close or she's hiding?
She's not far. I know in my heart she's not far. I can feel it.
Okay.
This was perhaps the first time Casey told the truth when speaking of her daughter's whereabouts, as she indeed wasn't that far away. Her attorney, Jose Baez, eventually managed to get her bail, and Casey was fitted with an electronic monitoring device.
So I'm gonna say Jose there. Jose nailed this whole thing out of the park. Apparently he did very well. Like extremely well, and it's just scary how well he did. So well in fact he was able to get her out of a life sentence or whatever sentencing she would have gotten for the death of her child. It's very crazy. It's very crazy.
And released on August 21st. She had spent just over 1 month in custody. 2 months later, police were granted permission to arrest Casey on the charge of first-degree murder. She was taken in for interrogation, but immediately requested her right to counsel. She was kept in the interview room while awaiting her attorney, and the released footage of that period is so bizarre to the point where it's almost comical. The detectives give off a passive, yet glaringly obvious vibe that lets Casey know exactly what they think, being that she is guilty of her daughter's probable death and a fundamentally terrible human being on every imaginable level. Casey's response to this is to essentially ignore it and act as if the discourse between them and the situation itself is an everyday occurrence.
Mind you, when I say yikes that face, I mean like the expression is very very concerning. Nothing against her looks, nothing at all.
one that perhaps doesn't concern the disappearance of her daughter, for which she is being charged for. You'll notice that she effortlessly maintains the same confident and talkative disposition that she had in her previous interviews with police. It's almost surreal to watch given the circumstance, and the visual element adds an entire new level to the absurdity. The first segment of footage shows the arresting officer waiting with Casey for the lead investigator to arrive. He initiates the conversation by bringing up the subject of Casey's parents. He asserts that he's worried about them, but the actual message he's putting across is that he essentially knows Casey is guilty and that she isn't fooling anyone. It's an indirect yet obvious accusation.
I was afraid that some of what I said to them probably offended them because I told them that if I find out something that you don't want to hear, I'm going to tell you anyway.
Well, honestly, they'll respect that. That's just, the type of people that they are in the same way.
I know they are. It was never my intention to piss anybody in your family off.
Yeah.
I'm not in it to get a conviction. I get nothing out of it. I get zero.
Exactly. You have a job you're trying to do.
I've found a few, and I've not found a few, and it sucks both ways.
Yeah, I agree.
So, it is what it is. Where I get sideways with people tends to be when attorneys get involved.
I've heard most people say that. They don't like attorneys very much.
I have many family members that are attorneys. I have no problems with attorneys. What I have problems with are, at some point, we have to set aside the rules, and we have to find kids. And you know what? So be it. That's why I told you in the car. If you tell me anything now, I'll get up and say, yep, I heard it, and she's already invoked, and we can't use any of it. That's just the way it is. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
The detective here has essentially just asked Casey for the information he knows she has about her missing child. Rather than retaliate and refute the blatant accusation, Casey continues with her sharp responses of accordance, as if to say she agrees, and knows exactly where the detective is coming from. Yet although she apparently agrees, she offers no information or follow-up dialogue thereafter. It's so incredibly awkward, yet equally intriguing to watch.
And, when we did another case that I was involved in, they lost a confession. And I sat there and I looked right at the guys that we worked with. I said,
that's not what's important.
Who cares?
Yeah.
We found her. And he's going to get what is coming to him. That's not my job. And it works out in the end. And it works out in the end on all sides, to be honest with you. It may not be comfortable for everybody.
Yeah.
And I've done things that if I get caught for, I'm not going to be comfortable, I can tell you that. It's just the way life is. But it's not the end of the road either. And that's what we have to keep in mind. It's not the end of the road.
Casey then casually brings up the topic of the grand jury and the media surrounding her murder trial. She raises the questions as if she's talking about her favorite daytime TV show.
Yeah,
but if the subpoena itself is just a regular federal or grand jury subpoena, that's public record.
Yeah.
It doesn't say what it's for. It doesn't say what case it's in. It doesn't. It just says you're subpoenaed to appear before the grand jury.
Well, with them announcing that there was going to be a grand jury, and obviously my name was thrown out, they knew who the grand jury was for.
Who threw your name out?
All of the media said that it was from an inside source, meaning in here. So that's where.
From an inside source? Sorry, I had to turn myself down a bit because my heat turned on. Yeah, she literally is just chilling with these guys, and it's so weird, like. And like I said, an actual mother would probably be like, oh my god, my child, and I'm being blamed, It's nothing like that, and just trying to, prove themselves innocent. Like, I would never do this. My child's in danger. We should really be focusing on that. Something like that. But instead it's just like, oh yeah, it's crazy, all this stuff is going on, and then just chatting about nothing. Literally nothing.
Where they all say is.
I can tell you what I think of the media and what I think of people who leak stuff to the media.
I think it's garbage. Yeah, I agree. That's the next
doesn't make it any less necessary. Without them, I'll be quite honest, without the media, we don't find a quarter of the kids that we...
Oh, I agree. It helps. The exposure has helped bring in so many tips for my daughter.
But at the same time, what it creates is it creates a monster that otherwise isn't necessary.
Exactly.
The tips are what the tips are. If it was a local media only, it would be much easier to work.
Yeah.
When you make it the national media, then you come up
You
with...
get the Nancy Graces.
Well, you get the tips also that come from Hawaii that say, I saw Kaylee. Oh, really? Okay, let me call Hawaii and let me send them out. Let me do that.
Ones that are a little bit closer.
Those are what I consider local, because the local stations are going to cover that. That's contiguous to the state of Florida. It's not.
When people are only getting their information from the Nancy Graces or from Globe magazine or People or stuff like that. Are you kidding me?
You're not going to break bad, right? All right. We're going to call him on my cell phone.
Okay. I know this is.
Oh, mine is with him.
Pull it back there.
Putting his eye in.
Just slide your hand
Safety
down.
eyes.
I honestly can't. So they're a little tight.
Thanks for entertaining us. Just slide your
Way to
hands
go,
out.
Corporal Edwards.
Actually, if I could, I would have done that for you.
Do you know Baez's phone number off the top of your head?
No, I do not.
How can we get the cell number or his number?
I know his office number.
What is that?
407.
I've identified myself. You know why you're in custody.
Yes.
And you have, when you sign this, you want your attorney present.
Yes. Hey, it's Casey. I'm with Corporal Edwards. I know the last name, sorry. I'm at the Sheriff's Department if you'd like to come down and meet with us. Thank you. Yes. And to answer your other question, from that picture, I cut my hair. It was really short even last year. I just started growing it back out this year, so. Guessed about that. It's been a long day.
It has been.
How was my dad this morning?
He had a hard time.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I only saw from the media and got a chance to hear him talking to my mom. I spoke to him last night and this morning for just a quick second before he left. So.
Yeah, I talked to him this morning for a little bit. He was with Mark, and he was really struggling. I mean, you can imagine he was having a hard time. He was being called in to essentially provide testimony to indict you, to at least, and he was really struggling with that.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for him, to be honest with you. I truly did.
Well, I even told him last night. I know he was subpoenaed, and under the law, he had to answer whatever questions were asked him, and I told him to do what he had to do.
Imagine you were Casey, but void of any wrongdoing whatsoever. Your daughter was kidnapped 5 weeks ago, and now a detective who thinks you're the culprit is relaying the agonizing moments of your father providing information for your arrest. No matter how stoic or self-controlled your nature, you would most likely be in tears or completely enraged at the overwhelming unjustness of the situation.
You anxious about today at all?
I have been. I mean, this is something, honestly, we've been preparing for from the beginning just because of words that were directly spoken from Yuri Melich and also from Sergeant Allen. They were saying that this is what they were planning on doing from the very beginning, from that first day. So they wrote me off within the first couple hours. That was the only time they ever made any effort to try to talk to me one-on-one. And
No, it's kind of difficult.
that was kind of difficult considering.
Well, considering, obviously, in light of everything that's going on and the fact that you've been arrested for other things, makes it a little more difficult to sit down and even talk to you. It's not that we haven't wanted to.
Yeah. But I do have counsel, and that's something that, my attorney's always been a phone call away.
Has your attorney ever told you that we would like to speak to you?
And we had agreed, him and I together, that we would all sit down together, him and I, and you guys, and, we'd entertain whatever questions you have, and
There is no possible way that a defense attorney would actually sit down and, as Casey states, entertain any question the police have for them. Yet if we weren't paying close attention, we would take her at her word due to the eloquence of her dialogue and not realize everything she's saying is complete nonsense.
I actually thought that we made it pretty clear that we wanted to talk to you. I mean, obviously, we can't come to you and ask you.
Yeah, understandably. guess it would have needed to come from me. I should have been the one to, I guess, come forward with it. But, you know, we did open up that door to law enforcement before. When Sergeant Allen was making a big deal saying, well, we want to talk to her. When can we talk to her? And he's saying, well, the door's open.
I don't believe he ever told us the door's open.
What's fascinating is how instinctive and confident her assertions are. In any other circumstance, or even without the knowledge we have now, you would have no reason not to believe everything she's saying.
I've heard the words come out of his mouth, even myself, directed to other people that maybe didn't either relay the message or took it a different way. So I don't know. I think the lack of communication has put people in opposite corners when everybody has the same goal, is to find Kaylee. We all still feel, I as a mom, I know in my gut, there's a feeling as a parent, you know certain things about your child, you can feel that connection. And I still have that feeling, that presence. I know that she's alive. Whether you have a bucket load of evidence downstairs that contradicts that and says otherwise, or all you have is speculation, or nothing at all. I mean,
We had more than speculation.
as every tip and
that's
every
something
lead
that I told
followed
Jose
up on.
directly.
Yeah.
That we have more than speculation. We have a lot. Or else we wouldn't be to this point. A lot.
This was essentially a direct confrontation. The detective has just told Casey they have sufficient evidence to prove her guilt. Casey doesn't refute or even respond to the accusation. She instead falls back to her ridiculous dialogue once again, hoping the confidence in her voice will mask the absurdity of what she's actually saying.
Well, I said the same thing to them, that, you know, they said that we're at the end of a hallway, and I'm thinking we're at the end of a hallway and there's two doors. Which door are we going to go through? Or I guess this is, you know, we're at this point, and
We are at this point.
the final step is which door is walked through.
She's very good at, hold on, I'm sorry. She's very good at, like, trying to maneuver around the conversation. And that's so scary to think about, because you know what? I apologize. I'm also trying to pull off a safety eye in the process, because I messed up. But it is scary to think about. It really is. Like, just her just swooshing around and being like, well, you know, this, that, and the other thing, and let me tell you about my life theory, you know? My theory on life real quick while I'm here. Like, it's very scary stuff. But she does it without really any fuss. Dadgummit. I messed up. Big time. I can't get it off. Dang it. Curses.
We are well beyond where we were before. I mean, those issues are gone, okay? And when referred to, we're at the end of the hallway, I think you were well aware of what hallway we're talking about. Do you understand that?
Well, so there's no question, I guess. You can specify that at this point. Or what your perspective is on that.
You have a second? Absolutely. Can we come right back?
Yeah, that's fine.
You plan on running off?
I'm not going anywhere.
So I gotta stretch out a little bit. I'm not as young as I used to be.
It's unfortunate that right when the pressure was starting to build, the second detective interrupts the exchange and they both leave the room soon after. Casey waits alone for roughly 40 minutes before her attorney shows up.
He's gonna ask you a question. You won't say anything else other than the answer. Okay?
Casey, based on our conversation today, and I read you that form, basically just the same thing I said to Mr. Baez over the phone. There's been numerous requests for opportunities to speak with us and come to a resolution here. And that's why we brought you here instead of jail. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, based on your request for us to call him and bring him here, he's here. So what we're going to try to do is give you a few minutes somewhere that's not recorded. No secrets, I told you. This room's recorded. I have to be able to approach my chain and explain why.
The detective now guilefully takes Casey up on her previous offer, where she insisted they were willing to sit down with police and answer questions.
But first, I needed you to tell him, in your own words, if you will, that you'd like to take the opportunity to deal with us like you made that request in the past. So, is that something you want to tell him?
I told him the same thing we talked about before, that we would entertain any questions that they have. We would listen, discuss it, and if we have something to respond, we'll respond.
Okay, do you want to speak to me in private?
Yes.
So we can clarify this?
Yes.
It would come as no surprise that no conference was to be had. Casey was instead taken to the county jail, where she would remain for 2.5 years awaiting trial. Once this footage was released to the public domain, the consensus was that Casey at best was a cold-hearted mother, and at worst, a hideous, despicable murderer. But what's curious is that although these opinions may be accurate, they came from a completely misguided notion, being that her behavior in the footage was entirely genuine. Casey was in all likelihood being completely fake this entire time. So you might be curious as to why a person would actually fake such a poised temperament, when it would be far more fitting to fake sadness and despair. We all have aspects to ourselves that are ungenuine to a certain degree. How we act at a business dinner won't be the way we are at home with our close friends or family. The more comfortable the setting, the more we can be ourselves. Those educated on Casey's past would assert that she was rarely sad, rarely angry, but always this bubbly and agreeable personality, even when it didn't suit the situation. She was one of those people where something just seemed off, but you couldn't quite put your finger on it. The evidence put forward suggests that Casey was fake in every single setting and with every single person all of the time. A trait that might go unnoticed in everyday life, yet would clearly stand out when shown under the microscope of a criminal case study. Casey had become so accustomed to this fraudulent way of being that it even came as a natural behavior to her in the extraordinary setting we see here. And the assertion
In a murder
is that
case.
because Casey knew just how
Jeez,
well she
Pete.
could fabricate this character, she thought she could use it to mask her anxiety and thus conceal guilty behavior. Casey, in all likelihood, had little to no regard for her daughter. That's not even an argument anymore. But her true temperament here would likely be far more apprehensive due to the concern over her own welfare. Every time the detective insinuated an accusation, Casey kept the same tone, same demeanor, and same confident, lighthearted disposition. If you took her out of this interrogative setting and placed her in the mall with her friends, it would seem completely normal. She would be faking her personality in both environments, yet we are only able to realize it in one. This type of mindset is linked to sociopathy. Whatever the situation or circumstance, they need to have an advantage over you. So how do they do this? They lie, and also calculate how they are going to feel and react to a certain situation before it occurs. The entirety of her focus was on making herself look good rather than being worried about the actual quality of her character. Casey, in a nutshell, was an inauthentic person, long before she ever gave birth to her ill-fated daughter. And her skill at deception alongside her manufactured personality is arguably the most terrifying part of this entire case.
The sad thing is, the sad thing is that Kaylee didn't have a choice in that. She was literally born to this woman who did not even care for her. You know, she didn't care. People have to speed down the street. Yeah, she didn't care. She did not care about having this kid. So poor Kaylee, you know, she had to deal with this woman who lies and denies anything and tries to hide from the world. And I just only imagine, I could just imagine that poor Kaylee would have to deal with that for like the rest of her life, or at least the rest of Casey's life. You know, she would have had to deal with that for her pretty much a good chunk of her life, and there was nothing she could do about it. It's unfortunate, but it's true, you know. It's just a really sad case to really think about. Like, just thinking that, you know, if Kaylee did live, you know, she wasn't killed, she would have had to deal with that. She would have had to deal with a mother who drinks and parties and goes out with friends and, you know, messes around and stuff. And Kaylee would have to sit and deal with it. And that's the unfortunate truth.
On December 11th, 2008, just under 5 months since she was reported missing, Kaylee's skeletal remains were discovered in a swamp less than a mile away from the Anthony household. She was wrapped in a Winnie the Pooh blanket and then placed in a canvas laundry bag. Duct tape was discovered around the nose and mouth area of the skull, and her death was ruled a homicide. Prosecutors in the case then announced they would be seeking the death penalty. There were a multitude of discoveries made in the lead-up to the trial, and many believed it to be an open and shut case due to the damnatory nature of the evidence. On the last day Kaylee was seen alive by anyone other than her mother, and the day many believed she was murdered, Casey Anthony made the following internet searches. At 7:54 p.m. that same evening, Casey and her boyfriend Tony were seen in a Blockbuster video store. Kaylee was nowhere in sight,
Oh, wow.
and many presume she was already dead and decomposing
That's
in
a-
Casey's trunk at this
that's an
point.
oldie.
In the following weeks, Casey went out partying most nights. Just 3 days after her daughter's supposed abduction, she was captured in various photos participating in a hot body contest. 12 days after, she got a tattoo on her back saying Bella Vita, an Italian motto that translates beautiful life. She also made an entry in her diary around the same time which
Yeah, that's
read,
weird.
I completely trust my own judgment, and I knew that I made the right decision. This is the happiest that I have been in a very long time. I hope that my happiness will continue to grow. The trial commenced on May 24, 2011. The gist of the prosecution's argument was that Casey suffocated her daughter with duct tape and then placed her in the trunk for a few days before disposing of her body in the swamp. The motive for the murder was the primary focus during their opening statement.
This isn't just a case about Casey Marie Anthony. It's a story about Kaylee Anthony as well. Kaylee Anthony was born on August 9th of 2005. It was a Tuesday. And Kaylee lived nearly every day of her life on a quiet residential street in Orlando called Hope Spring Drive. Casey Anthony, Kaylee's mother, appeared to all outward observers to be what her parents thought she was. A loving mother working hard to provide support for her daughter. But as the evidence in this case and the investigation into the background of Casey Anthony will show, that was an illusion. On Monday, June 16th, Cindy Anthony goes to work, as I've described, sometime between 7 and 8 a.m., and is out of the house until the late evening. George Anthony specifically recalls that at 12:50 p.m. on June 16th of 2008, his daughter Casey left the residence on Hope Spring Drive with Kaylee Marie Anthony. Kaylee was wearing a pink shirt, jean shorts, sunglasses, and a backpack. And George Anthony, kissed his granddaughter goodbye and never saw her. In fact, no one but Casey Anthony ever saw Kaylee Marie Anthony alive again. The evidence in this case will establish that there is no other reason for the placement of multiple pieces of duct tape on this child's face, mouth, and nose other than the specific intent to end that child's life.
It's so weird. The what do you call them? I always forget it. The prosecutor for the case. She I don't know if maybe she was just having an off time with this case, but she just didn't seem, I don't know, maybe this just wasn't the case for her, but it just seemed like she was so slow with telling her thoughts and doing things, and it just doesn't grasp you quite right. It's very weird.
No one but Casey Anthony had access to all the pieces of evidence the duct tape, the laundry bag, the blanket, the shorts, the shirt, the car. No one else lied to their friends, to their family, to investigators.
She shakes her head,
No one
but
else benefited
it's true.
from the death of Kaylee Marie Anthony. Kaylee's death allowed Casey Anthony to live the good life, at least for those 31 days.
Although there was a lack of direct physical evidence tying the defendant to her daughter's death, the evidence the state actually had still seemed overwhelming, and they understandably thought relying on the facts alone would easily secure a conviction. The defense, on the other hand, were up against it. So not only did they use charm and appeal to sway the jury's attention away from the evidence, they dropped an absolute bombshell in their opening statements to create as much doubt as humanly possible.
On behalf of the defense, I want to thank you for the sacrifice that you've made in your jury service and coming here and helping us see justice. We know it's no easy task, and we intend, I'm sure both sides, on getting you home as quickly as possible once you have all of the information that you need. Everyone wants to know what happened. How in the world can a mother wait 30 days before ever reporting her child missing? It's insane. It's bizarre. Something's just not right about that. Well, the answer is actually relatively simple. She never was missing. Kaylee Anthony died on June 16, 2008, when she drowned in her family's swimming pool. Well, the reason we're all here is because not of the commonality of this tragedy, but of the uniqueness of the family that it happened to. You will hear about ugly things, secret things, things that people don't speak about, things that Casey never spoke about.
I will the next solar eclipse
On
1
June
year
16, 2008, after Kaylee died, Casey did what she's been
Well,
doing
welcome
all her
back.
life, or for most of it, hiding her pain, going into that dark corner.
Oh my god, she's so dramatic.
That she does not live in the
Where is
situation
me?
that she's living in. This family must keep its secrets quiet.
I just wanted to party.
And it all began when Casey was 8 years old and her father came into her room and began to touch her inappropriately.
No.
Who, at 8 years old, learned to lie immediately. She could be 13 years old, have her father's penis in her mouth, and then go to school and play with the other kids as if nothing ever happened. That will help you understand why no one knew that her child was dead.
The trial would go on to last 6 weeks, with the prosecution exposing the truly dark and deceptive nature of Casey's character. While the state relied on fact, the defense clung on to theory, and proposed every conspiracy under the sun in the hope they would create enough skepticism and confusion. One of the more noted details of the trial was the courtroom presence of Jose Baez. He had an exceptional ability of narrative control and storytelling, and his capacity to create a connection with the jury seemed far more adequate than that of the state. This was recognized and mentioned multiple times in the media, yet the overwhelming majority of those following the case were almost certain that it wouldn't be enough to save the defendant. Closing arguments were put forward on Sunday, the 3rd of July.
When you have a child, that child becomes your life. This case is about the clash between that responsibility and the expectations that go with it and the life that Casey Anthony wanted to have. Casey meets Tony. Tony has this life. He's free. He's a club promoter. He's out there at night with the loud music and dancing, and it's a great free life. So she has a choice. A life tethered to a child, or a life free to be 22. And as hard as it is for anyone to imagine, she had to choose between sacrificing two things. The first was her dreams and the life she wanted. and the second was her child. And we submit to you the
obviously
evidence
she
in
picked
this
one.
case shows that the choice she made was her child.
Here we are at the end of our journey.
Thanks.
And I have to tell you that I probably think you have more questions than you have answers. And if you recall at opening statements, the
Oh my
final thing
God.
that I told you, at the end of the day, when everything is said and done, the one question will never be answered. The key question in this case will never be answered. It can never be proven. And that is, how did Kaylee die? I'm going to start with my biggest fear. I'm going to tell you right up front what I fear may happen in this case. And I want to talk to you about it and explain why I feel that way. This case deals with so much emotion. I know that there were times where every single person in here felt something deep down inside. Your rules of deliberation, what the law is that this case must not be decided for or against anyone because you feel sorry for anyone or are angry at anyone.
You'll notice that Mr. Baez locks the jury's focus on this while subtly concealing this. He presents the argument that the prosecution has purposely got the jury emotionally invested in the case in the hope it would push them towards a guilty verdict. Yet in this exact same statement, he himself is getting them emotionally invested for the exact opposite reason. While refuting the prosecution's supposed attempt to entice anger, he subtly attempts to evoke empathy. Say what you want about this attorney and the ethics of his conduct, but what you are about to witness is expertly done, and what many believe to be what saved Casey Anthony's life.
And that's because, obviously, we want you to base your verdict on the evidence, not on emotion. And it's my biggest fear because it's such a difficult thing for you to push aside. Kaylee Anthony was a beautiful, sweet, innocent child who died far too soon. There's no doubt about it, and that is not disputed by anyone. But to parade her up here to invoke your emotion would be improper. It's improper under the law, and it's improper as to the rules of your deliberation. He went on for a great length of time talking about this beautiful child. Not on his evidence, not on the evidence that was presented before you. It was to set up the emotion for what was to come. And that is exactly how this case was presented. They didn't come right out the gate and show you the evidence. They gave you 2 weeks of testimony that was completely irrelevant and served only one purpose. And that was to paint Casey Anthony as a slut, as a party girl, as a girl who lies, and has absolutely nothing to do with how Kaylee died. And this prosecution was geared in such a manner that it was deliberate, it was methodical, it was thorough, and it was detailed.
Mr. Baez then focuses on the fact that the state has the burden of proof, and thereafter continues to intertwine the two essential features of his argument, empathy and doubt.
Don't speculate. Don't guess. It has to be proven to you beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. If you don't know what happened, it wasn't proven. We don't want you to tell us what you think happened. We want you to tell us what was proven happened. And that's the difference here. Because you know what? We can go on and speculate all day long as to the different theories that were posed before you, as to the different possibilities. But the truth of the matter is it must be what was proven. There are no mysteries to solve here. There should be no mystery before you right now. If you have questions, then it was not proven.
What crime did the truth commit?
Now, back to what I was saying.
Let's see. We went over the Darrel Brooks case, and we're now going over Casey Anthony. And we're almost done with this video, actually. We only got like a few minutes left. is basically going over how she is a big fat phony, big fibber. She's a big old liar, and she got away with it. She murdered her daughter, who was only like 2, and yeah, she got away with that. Somehow she
Their
got away
initial
with that.
setup, the way the case was presented, the first couple weeks. You see, the strategy behind that is if you hate her, if you think she's a lying, no good slut, then you'll start to look at this evidence in a different light. You'll start to, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I'm seeing something that's not there. And start to actually
Sound tired, but
discriminate
also
against her rather than
crazy.
give her the same
I'm a little
rights
tired.
each and
I've been
every
working,
citizen in
so,
the country.
but I'm okay right
And
now.
that is that the state, that the government come in here and
This is
prove their
the
case beyond to
defendant,
exclude
the
every
the defense attorney.
But you can get away with that if we can get a jury to hate her. But you're here to fulfill an oath. You've labored tremendously over this journey.
Be good, Binks.
And we're going to ask you to render a verdict of not guilty on these charges because they
He's
simply
so good.
were not proven. And they're simply
It was
not true.
ridiculous.
For the 9th Judicial Circuit in and for
Look at
Orange
this.
County, Florida. State
Watch
of
this.
Florida versus Casey Marie Anthony. As to case number 2008 CF 15606-0. As to the charge of first-degree murder, verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty, so say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson.
She got away with that.
As to the charge of aggravated child abuse, verdict as
She never get punished for it? Nope.
we, the jury, find the defendant
She got
not
like
guilty, so say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County.
She got like 4 years for lying to police, and then got out after 3 years for good behavior. And she ended up back out on the streets. She ended up back in the world. Never got punished for it. Never got consequences for her actions. She got to walk around scot-free. And let me tell you, this made so many people angry. She became the most hated woman in the US. A lot of people do not like her. I don't like her. How does a 2-year-old anger you enough to kill them? I don't think the little 2-year-old did anything. It's just a little baby. So we know she did it now. So we have the evidence. There's a lot of evidence pointing to her. Because there's even like her car apparently smelled of like a decomposing body. Which is a very clear sign, and she was the last one that had it. When they went to go get it from the impound lot. Then they found out, let's see, there was some other stuff. What was there? Besides that, there was tape over her face, too. Like they were trying to say it was an accident. It wasn't. She had tape over her mouth, nose, and jaw, which basically means she was suffocated. Tied up. She was put in like a Winnie the Pooh blanket, wrapped up, and buried out in the forest. Heck the case because of some dumb law rule, right? I'm gonna assume so, because this girl is a mess. So the weird thing is, she actually came out with a documentary. I think, yeah, the rest of this is just going to be her defense team talking about how they somehow succeeded in getting this girl out of flipping jail. Congrats, guys. You did great. Seaweed, welcome in. Let's see here. I can pull that up real quick. Yeah, she came out with a documentary. I'm not going to show the trailer. I don't know if I linked it or not. But there is supposed to be like a documentary series on Peacock. And yeah, it's not good. She frames her dad and says her dad did it. and says her dad's like a whole bunch of things that is not good. So yeah. Um but she pretty much she just says like, no, it wasn't me. It was my father. My father didn't want me to say anything. He was gonna have me, take the hit for it. And in reality, she is a party girl. She likes to party. She loves to do drugs. She likes to drink. She likes to go out and have fun and live her life and do all this stuff. And it's kind of hard to do that when you have a little 2-year-old at home that's going to need your care and attention. So my speculation is she got rid of her. She's like, I'm not dealing with this. Gone. And that was it. And then she went back to doing her thing. And the funny thing is, I think her mom and dad at first didn't believe that it could have been her. But, because at first they were like trying to fudge the evidence a bit. To say like, oh, well, we were searching that stuff up. Why were you searching that up? I don't know, just curious kind of stuff. It was very weird. But, I do have something in regards. Horrible woman for sure. Good defense lawyer. Sure horrible that she won, but you gotta hand it to that lawyer. He straight up Better Call Saul. He really did. He did good. He did really good. It's a shame, but he did very good. That was Binks. I don't know what she's doing. But he did great. He really did. He hooked him in. Hook, lined, and sinkered. But I do have one more video on Casey, and it has to do with the docuseries. I believe it has to do with someone they were gonna have interview her, and apparently the whole interview with Casey is all pretty much scripted. Like, let's be real here. We already knew that, but it's kind of scripted. To the point where Casey got to choose what questions the interviewer had to ask. Which says a lot. That says an awful lot. So, we'll watch that real quick. And let me tell you, this lady was mad. She was very mad.
It has been 11 years since Casey Anthony was acquitted of the murder of her little girl Kaylee, and now she's speaking out in a new docuseries. And the director says that Anthony
call
had
interviews,
no
yeah.
control over how she's portrayed.
Casey Anthony, once dubbed the most hated woman in America,
Look at her.
is back.
Just like, let me just
11
get on my
years
acting
after
face.
She was acquitted of murdering her 2-year-old daughter Kaylee. She is
God, that
interviewed
poor
in a new
child.
docuseries on the streaming service Peacock.
Why talk to me now when you're not getting creative control?
The release of the limited trailer is provoking outrage.
I'm stunned that she has a 3-part
Mad.
so-called documentary.
Nancy Grace, who covered the Casey Anthony case, says she was actually approached by the makers of the series to interview Anthony.
It was a no for me the moment I was asked. I did not want to be part of anything that seemingly glamorizes someone
that was Binks.
I believe murdered a 2-year-old baby girl, their own child. They'll probably get great ratings. It's like going to the zoo and looking at the snake behind the glass. I hate snakes, but I look at them.
We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
Casey Anthony's acquittal on the murder charge was front-page news in 2011. Now 36, she has been leading a low-key life in Florida. Although she made headlines last year when she called 911 after reportedly getting into an argument with another woman in a bar.
Let's see, and today
Yeah.
it's a thrown drink.
I'm so wet.
Yeah.
I got a drink thrown at me.
Nancy Grace has a damning
Yeah, this
verdict
happened.
on the woman she calls Tot Mom.
Everything Tot Mom says is a lie.
In a statement, the
Mom.
documentary maker says public opinion of Casey Anthony has been largely shaped by the media, convinced of her guilt. What emerges over the course of multiple interviews recorded over 6 months is a startling psychological portrait of Casey Anthony. I believe
No.
the result will surprise many and cause the American public to look at this story.
So, here's my thought. Casey, I don't know who, I'm gonna guess somebody came up and said, Yeah, I want to make a documentary on Casey Anthony because that's good money right there. That's good stuff right there. That's some good money. We could really sell this, you know, something like that. And yeah, that's hilarious. Trying to make herself look good while at the same time trying to frame her father for their murder. Um, she looks like a murderer. This looks like a fake YouTuber apology. Sorry. I wish to apologize for my transgressions. You are right. You are right. We just need the sigh, and we know it's coming. It'll be like the first episode. It's like, I'm sorry I have to make this, but I didn't murder my daughter. It's like, what, girl? You crazy? Yeah, I can't believe that. I can't believe that there's that she's just out here like doing this. She's out here just average YouTuber apologies. Just in here like, I apologize for all my wrongdoings, which is none. But I have to apologize as part of this contract. You're in continuous lapse in judgment. That's it. Thank you. I have made a severe and continuous lapse in judgment. I wish to apologize for all that I've done. It's awful. Yeah, apparently they show like pictures and videos and stuff of this little girl in the documentary, which I don't think we really got to see. And there's actually like a news video. I'd have to go and find it. But there's like a video, like a little news segment where they go over how she was released from jail and she's now at home, and she shows off drawings and pictures that her daughter made, and it's so off. It's so weird. It's very weird. I don't know how to feel about it, honestly. Let me see if I can find it. Casey Anthony News. Yeah, let's see here. Not that one. I can't believe she got not guilty. That absolutely throws me off. Absolutely throws me off. Into the doubt on most things. Get both sides of the story. No need this time. I can say with certainty she did it. I'm absolutely, yes, absolutely, 100%. I'll tell you why. Throughout the whole thing, she could care less about that child. She really did. There was a point where, and it shows in the video too, where she, I'm stretching. She ends up in like one of those like video, you know, like those phone prison calls or whatever, where someone comes over to see you in the jail cell. She had one of those with her parents. And throughout the whole thing, it's like if they were talking about her and like, oh, I know this must be hard for you. I'm sorry, so sorry, hon. You know, like all this stuff. She'll start crying like, I know it's been so tough. I've been toughing. Hold on a sec. I've been toughing it out. That really added to it too. I'm just doing so tough. And then they're like, oh, I know, but we'll find Kaylee. We'll find her. Don't you worry. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that we're working on that. That's great. Anyway, about me. Oh my god. Like, gosh darn you, girl. What is wrong with you? But yeah, they would do that, and it's like really frustrating. But yes, it was pretty clear. Like, you didn't have to say much to really pinpoint that There was something going on. That's a murderer who wants to get out of it. Correction, that's a murderer who got out of it. Which really sucks. Gosh darn it. Frustrating. This music is so... Oh, hold on, I gotta fix my audio. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Yeah, it's... it's crazy. It's cray. But, yeah. It's between her and Darrel Brooks. They're both crazy. I've been wanting to talk about him for, like, a while now. I think ever since Casey's, like, documentary started coming around, is when I was like, you know, I really want to have a word about that, because it's so bad. It's so bad that they gave her a docuseries for that. Like, girl, you're lucky you're alive. Your daughter is no longer around. She don't get to live, you know, her childhood or her teenage years, or, you know, grow up to be an adult. Meanwhile, you get to go and party and drink and hang out with friends all the time, all you want. Because now you're a free girl. You don't have to worry about nothing. You don't gotta worry about childcare or helping, you know, take care of this little kid. You don't gotta do nothing. Because she's gone. So what else can you do? Not grieve, that's for sure. Not only getting out of it, but making money off it. Oh yeah, it's awful. It's really awful. It's bad. I'm actually pretty frustrated about that, because it's like, not only she got out of it, and then gets money for being a liar. Like, she's a big liar. There's no doubt about that. She started off trying to say that it was like a babysitter that took her. It's like, sucky. Stonks. Stonks. Stinks. Stinks. But yeah, she's awful. She's really awful. How long ago? 3 hours? My goodness. But yeah, it's awful. I look at that whole situation, I just go, my god. And the sad thing too is that little baby's so cute. She's so cute. She would have grown to be very beautiful. Very beautiful young lady. It's very unfortunate. I think if I can gather correctly, she would have been like, see, if she was 2 in 2008, it's been 11 years, so... Is that right? I guess that would be right. So about 2008. So plus 11 years, she would have been 13. She would have been 13 years old right now. I might have that wrong, but technically if it was 2008, gosh darn it, where's my calculator? I need a calculator. Here it is. Don't know why I'm using this calculator, but I'm using it now. See, 2022. We'll say 2022 minus 2008. It's actually been like 14 years. Let me check. Wow, there's a lot to think about here. I apologize. Let's see. Right here. So, Kaylee was born in 2005. 2005. We'll do it that way. 2022 minus 2005. She would have been 17. She could have cured cancer. Yeah, she could have. So she'd be 16-ish? Yeah, she'd be like 17 years old. That is really sad to think about. She would have been in high school right now. Probably in like her junior year. Getting into her senior year. Like, that's really sad. Man. It's a shame that she had a mother like that. She would have lived a really good life. Dang. Yeah, it really is unfortunate. Man. It's so sad. She seemed like a really sweet little baby, so it's just unfortunate. And the same can be said for the child that died in Darrel's case as well. Jackson. He was only 8 when he was killed. Along with some others. But he would have been like maybe like 9. It hasn't been very long since Darrel did what he did, so Jackson wouldn't have been too old now. But it's very unfortunate. It always makes me so mad when these kids end up getting hurt. And, I just always hope for justice. That's why I get so mad about Casey's case. It's just like, these poor kids. They deserved better, and you know, people failed them, so. But anyways, I think I'm gonna call it there. I think we've done enough justice for today. We told Casey what for. How dare! Hurting little kids. What the heck? Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. It's actually not too late, but that should be fine. I don't get how someone could kill a kid. An adult, sure, but a kid, that's horrible. It really is horrible. It makes me so upset to think about. Because they're a little kid, you know? They can't defend themselves. It's awful. How dare they? Protect the kids. Be good to them. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Just a reminder before I get into my usual little ending piece. I did link down below the Jackson Sparks Foundation, which is a foundation that helps children in need or children who are not so well off, help them play baseball, you know, enjoy a fun little summer sport. So that's pretty nice. If you want to check that out down below, you can. I've linked it in the description. And then I know they said Casey's grandparents made a foundation for her, but I don't know if that's still up and running, so I did not link it. But if you do happen to find it, please do check up on that and you know, look into that as well. But anyways, as usual, you know what's coming? It's happening. It's now. Gonna be bit tap. Bye, Asia. Anyways, if you got school or work going on, I wish you luck. I know this sucks. Monday, we are playing. We're playing Danganronpa Monday, which is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm very excited for that. Do I have anything else to report on? I know my intro for today was very off. I think I was just excited to get into some true crime. But yeah, we're trying to get to 500 subs. Our reward for that goal is that we'll get to play some Animal Crossing and maybe a little bit of Dreamlight Valley. It'll be a lot of fun. I don't think I got anything else to report on besides those 2 things, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Self-care is important. Love yourselves. You're the only you in this world. And you know what? Since we've been watching some pretty sad stuff, hug your pet. Love and hug your pet. You know, care about them. Tell them they're being good babies. All right. And then I will see you guys Monday. Okay. Goodbye. Bye-bye now. Goodbye now. Goodbye, y'all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.